Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 522, recorded on April 3rd, 2025. On this week's episode with special guest David, the gaming dad Reed, we talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, what worked, what didn't work, and what was Nintendo thinking. Jesse, I get to do the music, so here we go. All right, that is the intro that these guys can't hear, but I can, so I get to do everything this week. So, because Jesse is away, he can't produce, so I'm going to produce. Marty's got his eyes on a storm coming in, so I'm going to take the lead on the show. And then, of course, we got our special guest, David. How you doing, David?
Oh, man, I'm doing wonderful. How you guys are doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We're excited, especially this week. It seems like it's like a Nintendo E3 Christmas for us, right? So we get to talk about all the stuff we're learning about the Nintendo Switch 2 and a little bit of the Treehouse stuff. So I'm excited. I've been looking forward to talking about this since this was talked about yesterday. So, how about you, Marty? Are you excited about this?
Yeah, man. Like it's Nintendo Christmas, right?
Exactly.
And so, I mean, there's a lot that we're going to get into. There's a lot of news to break down. And even in thinking about that Nintendo didn't even tell us everything, right? I mean, there's a lot that we have even gleaned today from the Treehouse, which I did not get to watch, but I'm hoping is in our notes. And then also just pulling from the website, after it went live, there was a lot of stuff there.
Little details here and there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I'm still like I told you guys before we went live. I'm still deciding how I feel about it. I'm like I like what I see. I don't like what I'm going to spend. Let's put it that way. That gives you a little preview of what I'm going to talk about tonight.
Yes.
So.
Hopefully we can get that out of you before the storm comes through. So
yeah, sure. So it's going to be here in like 5 or 6 minutes, and so I may drop or not. But anyway, if not,
we'll get it out of you one way or another.
You could probably guess how I feel about it just from my comments. But
yes,
yeah. So that's me.
Jesse, how's it going over there for you? I see your Mario Kart jacket back there too. By the way, that's awesome.
Yeah, I did wear that, and I had a few people comment on it at the airport. That was kind of fun. Yeah, I was going to say it's more of a monkey paw Christmas, but we'll talk about that. But other than that, yeah, it's been a day. It's been a few days.
Well, hopefully
I'm looking forward to going home on Saturday.
Hopefully we can take your mind off of things for you there, so we can talk about some Nintendo Direct on the Nintendo Switch 2. So
that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, without any further ado, let's jump into that. I'm just going to play the news bit here. And the news is brought to you by the Patreons over at patreon.com/NintendoDads. Huge thanks to all of our Patreons for helping us create more great Nintendo Dads content and for making our community a better place, including our newest Patreons, Carlos and Jake.
Yes. Awesome. And you know what? Just for you patrons, I want you to picture something right now, and it would be great. I wish we had some like music that we could pipe in behind this, some,
sure. I'll find something.
Kenny G type stuff,
Sure.
I just want you to picture the fact that I'm wearing the Pokemon Crocs right now. My feet are inside Snorlax Pokemon Crocs. And
you weren't able to get Gengar?
I was not. No. Do you know why? Do you know what people did with those Gengar Crocs?
No.
They bought them all up and then turned around and charged like $175 for a pair of Crocs.
Oh boy.
Online.
Crazy.
Yes. Are you seriously? All the others are normal normal price, right? But
just Gengar, right?
Gengar, $175 for a pair of Crocs. So I got Snorlax, and so just so you know, nice, sweaty feet. That's too much. I don't know.
There's an image.
Thanks
Crocs
to the
make my feet
patrons.
sweat. Sorry. So there you go. That's what you get. Thanks, patrons.
Good thing we don't have smell in a podcast format.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, dude. Can I ask, look, we're all dads here. So can I ask a dad? Can we do a dad diversion right here for just a second?
For sure. Go ahead.
My son came in yesterday from work, and immediately we had a tornado warning come out, and so we had to go to our safe space. And he had come in and he had kicked his shoes off from like his tennis shoes. When we came back from our safe space, which is actually a house about half a mile down the road, the entire house, like downstairs, smelled like Doritos. Does anybody else have that problem with their kid?
Yep.
Like that? I mean,
Yes.
I'm talking like toxic
Yes.
stench.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm sure I did at one point, but I don't. It's not really a problem anymore.
I'm just glad. Like, I'm just saying. Like, I just want to, you know.
The odor eater spray is a godsend,
Yes.
as well as
Hey.
the charcoal insert things that you can put in their shoes.
Santa brought it to him in his stocking
Okay.
this year.
Yep. Also the Dr. Scholl's odor eater inserts as well. That
Well,
1,
he
2, 3
already-
punch right
okay,
there.
Yeah, and that would be good, but he has to wear custom, like not custom. But he has to wear a certain kind of insert, orthotic insert, because he has bad arches like I do.
Yeah.
And he's up on his feet, 8 hours a day because he's working the Save a Lot cashier stuff.
I get
So
it.
yeah, man, it is.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
you're not alone.
It is
You're not alone.
pouring down.
Oh, is it pouring?
Pouring down.
I was just saying
yeah,
about
it's
the smell. About the smell, you're not alone.
The wind and the power's flickering. So you may lose me here for just a second, or for a little bit. But yeah. Sorry, I really did not mean to steal. Sorry.
It's okay. You're fine.
Oh, that's cool.
I see it
Yeah.
flickering,
Go
so
ahead.
we know what's going to happen when you disappear. Just hopefully not.
If I log
Hopefully you're not
off-
going to Oz. You'll
No.
still be there.
No. I really don't. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Tim. I don't joke about that. It's a little too close to home.
Right. All right. Well, let's jump right into the direct stuff. So
Sure.
rather than go over each and every step of the direct, which I know probably a lot of people watched, if they're listening to us, they probably watched it, or maybe they are waiting for us to give some information. I will kind of touch on some of those subjects, but I want your guys' opinion on some of these things.
Yeah.
So, but first, what I want to start with is some of the, we know the Nintendo Switch 2, this was the direct for that. So we know they're talking about some of the specs, they're talking about some of the features. So we're going to dive into that first before we dive into some of the games.
I like it.
So the first thing we're going to dive into is the first thing they brought up was the game chat. So this is your Zoom version of Nintendo's version of Zoom, but for 4 people to be able to play a game together and share their screens and play the game together and see each other's faces and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this game share feature?
Dave, I want to hear David's opinion first.
Yes.
You know what? I thought it was like about time, but what kind of scared me was that the quality just quite wasn't what I was expecting. So I was like,
The
well,
little
maybe,
videos at the bottom there, you could see.
Yeah, so I said, well, I don't know if it's
frame
the
rates.
camera. Is that how Nintendo's going to do it? Can I hook up a different camera? And I just found out today we can't. You can't use a different camera. But that's the only thing that concerned me. But I was glad that we have that feature because I get tired of my I'm a PlayStation and Xbox fanboys. They give me a hard time about not having voice chat.
Right.
Yeah. So I saw this as the stopgap, right, between the having to do it through the phone app and having
That was
having
terrible.
it fully on the console, right?
Or through Discord.
It's almost kind of like one foot in both. So I thought it was kind of cool. What they showed with the actual gameplay footage, like with Jamboree TV, the Mario Party Jamboree update, like I thought that was a much better integration of it. But I do love how easy and like simple it seems to be to jump in and jump out of that, right?
Yes.
So one thing that was missing for me in that was, if I want to, like, say the 4 of us were playing Mario Kart World, right? and I wanted to jump in like they did. Like it was like, they drove up. Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? So what did they do before that to all get in the same game?
That's a
That
good
was my
question.
question. Like what did they have to be in the game first, or did the game chat invitation create the invitation to the game as well?
Mm.
And it does. I do like, and Tim said earlier we were going to talk about the app and app updates. I really like the
Yes.
app, like the way that they're updating the app, so you can see who's online, you can see what they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
You can do. That's what we wanted, right?
Yep.
Yes.
That's what we
Absolutely.
wanted it to be.
Absolutely.
So I'm just wondering, like, what would really be cool is, say I'm sitting here, and I'm like working on something, and I get a notification from, it pops up, says, gaming dad wants to play Mario Kart World, right? So I tap on that, and does it open it on my Switch?
Mm. Yeah,
Does
that
does
would
it
be
does
that'll be
it
a nice
connect me to
feature.
game chat? I mean, that would be cool. I'm worried about the integration too. I thought the video at the bottom, that was the first thing my son pointed out. We watched the direct yesterday afternoon, and he was like, "Oh, so it's just Discord." And y'all, listen, when I tell you my son's on Discord all day, he's on Discord all day long.
Yeah,
Yep.
Like
I mean,
my son is too.
so is
if
Matthew.
he's not at work or working on school, and even when he's working on school, sometimes he's chatting with his friends, or they're dipping into a game, or they're doing this, and so I don't. I
Yeah,
think it's great for people who don't use Discord, but it's not. I don't think
Mm.
it's going to replace Discord for anybody that is a
No.
heavy Discord user.
Nope.
No.
right. Yeah, I saw this and I thought of two things. One, that's the feature I'll never use unless y'all make me. And two, we're eight. We're in year 9 of the Switch, and one thing we're worried about is its CPU cycles and lost frames and whatnot. And this is what they want to do in the background, really?
Here's
I hope that
here's
doesn't
day
affect things
one of
down
the
the road.
Switch 2, and we're already talking about lost frames and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do think there's some places it could have good uses, right? Like if I'm stuck on a puzzle, or if there's a place where, like, one of the first places my mind went to was Minecraft. Like, because
Mm.
I would try to tell people, like, I'm seeing this, and they're like, "Well, I think I'm close," when they're not, or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It'd be great for that. But y'all, how many first person shooters are going to use this for screen peeking?
Oh, that you can turn it off
Oh
though.
yeah.
You don't have to share your screen.
You
So
don't
Oh.
have
there's
to.
there's
You
an
don't have
option,
to.
right? You don't. I mean, you have the option to enable screen share and or disable it.
That
Well,
was like 15 frames a second, and that screen
yeah.
Yeah.
screen share.
But now the other thing that I thought was really cool was, and I would have not expected it to do this, was, and maybe Tim, maybe I'm dipping into something else that we're going to talk about here, but
Cool.
like it was like the Karen or whatever her name was playing Mario Kart, and everybody else at the bottom was playing something else.
Yeah, they did. They did touch on
Okay.
that, being able to play different games,
And
and
to
they
Yeah,
me,
showed
they
that.
did that
They
today at the treehouse.
yeah, they
what
did that
that
today in the
showed
treehouse.
was like what they kind of glossed this over, but one of the features that really stuck out there to me was that I could take somebody else's screen and make it bigger on
Yes.
my screen.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
minimize my screen and make their screen bigger. So I'm guessing their frame rate bumps up when I do that. So
That's
I
what
would
it
like
seems
pause
like.
Mario Kart, and then they'd be like, "Hey, watch me do this," and then
Yes.
to me that's kind of
That's,
cool. Like
mhm.
I like watching people play video games.
And that makes sense because if you're watching 4 different displays, it probably is doing 15 frames a second between the 4 of them each, which adds to 60. So if you do focus on one, you're probably getting a 60 frame stream at that
Yeah,
point, if that's the only one you're watching.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's nifty. I don't know that I'm gonna use it that much, unless there's a game that comes out and we're all playing it as a community, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, like Beer, who's a good friend of ours here on the show, knows that I'm a terrible like at like joining Fortnite games because he'll be in there and he'll like send me a friend invite and I'll be like, man, I'm just playing one game, I'll get off. And I hate feeling like I'm disappointing people, but like right now, the game time is a premium. But now, by the time this gets in my hands and the end of this year, things are going to open up a little bit more. Um, do y'all think this is a good solution for Nintendo solving chat on the go?
It's one of the things you got to kind of wait and see. Everything
Yeah.
looks good. It's a good presentation. But I don't know until we get into our own hands and figure it out how seamless it is or not seamless. Then this is one of the things you just got to kind of wait and see.
I think it's
Right.
also going to be a good streaming tool, especially if you have a group of people. Like if all four of us dads were to get on together, even us four here, let's say we got together to play a game, it would be good for streaming instead of having, because we would be able to see all of our views at the bottom of the screens, and then have whoever's sharing the main view be able to see that, and then you can share, like Marty was saying, bring up that other person's view to see what they're doing or whatever.
Yeah,
Because
that's a good point.
we already were talking about that, or that popped up in my mind thinking about our NSO nights, because we go
Yeah.
and we do 4-player NSO on one of either the classic games, or one of the games that like Jamboree or something like that, and then we'd be able to see all four of the people who participate in that. So
I
I
like
could see it
that.
as a really
I mean,
good streaming tool for people.
Yeah.
I don't own Jamboree, but I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to buy that one. Like
Dude,
my daughter,
it's
I bought it for my daughter, but I never
yeah.
did buy myself a coffee.
Well, see, here's what you do now is that you just get her to share it to your system.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
you got the share.
That's
Right?
right.
It's starting at the end of April. You just get her to share it. You get it for 2 weeks.
That's right. 14 days. Yeah, I listen. All right, you did save me about $70,
Exactly.
You
maybe
can't
80
play
bucks. I don't know.
but you can't play it together that way. If you want to play it together, you
Ah.
all each need your own copy.
Oh,
Unless
Hey,
they
I'm
enable
willing
the
to
game
bet.
share on that. 'Cause
listen,
Yeah, I'm
he's a
willing to
party
bet
pooper.
That's got to be
that
local play.
I was going to say I'm willing to bet that they're going to that you can find a used copy of that somewhere by now.
that's
But
true.
but I
It'll
I
save
thought
you a
with
little bit.
local, but I thought with local play, like if me and her are like kind of in the same proximity, we can all play the same game.
Yeah.
There's
So
If
certain
it's
that's
features.
enabled.
Yeah, yeah,
that's
that's what he was talking about with Game Share,
Oh, yeah.
That's the
which
next
we haven't
thing,
talked about
actually.
yet.
That's the next thing on the list here is game share, actually. Let's talk about that a little bit. So, but actually, before I jump in, I did want to mention for the parents who are listening, there is parental controls in the updated parental control app that will allow you to limit access to game chat. So if you have
Yes.
some young
Yeah.
people you don't want in there, you can limit it.
A detail about that I wanted to mention was it's almost like they've enabled like a two-factor authentication for that, except that it runs through the parents'
Mm-hmm.
phone number. So like if they want to friend somebody, you get a notification that they want to friend this person, and that's when you as a parent can start asking questions and say,
Nice.
"Who is this
Right.
person? Who do you know? Do you
Mm-hmm.
know them?" Okay, well, no. If you don't know them, we're not going to friend them on Switch and let you talk to them. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stay
Parents are
tuned.
gonna step up your parents.
Stay tuned
And I
to all
don't-
of us dads for more on that for the game parental control app too.
Well, before we go to Game Share, I think did we mention going back to Game Chat that it'll be available to all players up until March 31st. Then after that, NSO membership will be required to access it.
Yep. So
Yeah.
about 9-10 months worth of it to be able to use. So
I,
that's cool.
that kind of use of a feature, I think, is really smart on their part because it's like, hey, here's this really innovative feature that we've got, and we're going to let you try it, and then all of a sudden, boop,
Also lets them work
Um,
out the kinks too.
at 100%.
Yep.
It's a server test.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did want to ask you guys this, okay, about this. Do you think this is a big enough feature to warrant its own button on the controller?
I think so.
Because I mean, a C button is, I mean, like
I know,
adding
yeah, it
another button
definitely could have been
is
a
a big deal.
home button. Choose the chat option.
Yeah, this could have happened right there on the home screen. I don't
The
think we needed
reason
a
I
button.
ask that is because me being my cheap self is I've already told my family like, boy, we got a lot of Joy Cons and Pro controllers in this house, and we ain't buying no more. It's gonna be what comes with the Switch 2, and that's it.
Yeah. Well,
You
it
can
has been
play with
confirmed. It has been confirmed that you can use Joy-Con from the original Switch with the Switch 2. You just have to
yeah,
pair them through the normal Bluetooth method of pairing
right.
controllers.
And see, I've already got my like table
And you'll
side.
need an independent way of charging them.
Yeah, so I've got my table side charger for those and my Pro controller. What I was focusing in on with this line of chat here is that none of those have the C button. And so
Right.
if this is such a big deal concept for Nintendo, what am I going to do to be able to get the C, do game chat? I mean, like, if there's a way to circumvent around that, like Jesse said, hold down the home button and you choose chat, then why put the C button on the thing at all?
I get where you're going.
And take care of them Joy Cons.
I get where you're trying to go with that, but you got to remember that is meant for you to chat with people online.
Yeah.
You're going to use your other Joy-Cons for local stuff.
Right. No, I completely agree. 100%.
So
I'm just,
if you break
Tim,
that one, if you break that one with the C button, yeah, you have to go get a new one.
hey, I'm just playing devil's advocate, right?
Right.
Like I'm just following that out because I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about it personally for me though is yes, it's meant to play with people online.
Yes.
I don't want to buy another Pro controller. I have two already. I have a Splatoon
No, I get
Pro
it.
controller. I have my regular Switch Pro controller, and I have this Decepticon GameStop controller, Soundwave controller, which is awesome.
Soundwave.
I don't want any more Switch controllers in my house. I'm inundated with accessories.
Got it.
Counting all the NSO stuff, and then we're gonna get GameCube too now. But yeah, that's just me being a
No, for sure. I mean, it's
on.
already going to be a
Listen.
lot of, yeah. We'll be talking about how much too, but we want to talk about all you're
Right.
supposed to be getting with it, and that will lead up to
sure.
the cost.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So going to that game share we were talking about, there is going to be select games that can be shared up to 3 additional people locally, similar to the Nintendo DS download play that we all had at one point.
Oh, that was so good.
Games that'll be updated to support game share are games like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario 3D World, and Bowser Fury.
There's your episode art right there.
I already pre-made it just so I had it out of the way. So, but maybe we'll have to say that for another time.
So I hollered when I saw that you could like share games because I
Yes.
remember being able to do that with a certain few. Am I wrong in thinking that Mario Party DS was one of the, no. Let me back up. Mario Kart 7
Mario Kart
was one of
7.
those that you could use as a game share where like you could play with the other person and you could play all the tracks. You just couldn't pick your character. You had to be like a shy guy or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're limited. Because
That was great.
they didn't get the whole game. They only got a small snippet of the game
Sure.
that shared. So it was,
Whatever
otherwise it would
tracks
take
you were
forever to
racing on is
download.
what you got. Yeah.
But
100%
But I
okay
mean,
with this.
But I imagine here it's once you trigger it, it'll be like a normal full game download on their side that they can access while you're in the local group.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. And then, of course, there'll be Switch 2 exclusive games. So, David, do you have a lot of games that you're looking forward to being able to share with your family? Did you miss that feature?
Listen, when we had the DS, when we had Mario Kart 7, that was phenomenal. To be able to have this one cartridge, and we always want to get together all in the same house. And the great thing about it, you didn't have to be in the same room. You could be all over the house. You had good enough Wi-Fi. And oh man, those were the days. I think that game, and I believe, was it Mario? Oh man, was that Super Mario Brothers they had for the DS that you could they had those little mini games where you kind of had to chase one another through there to like play hide and seek or whatever. That was so good.
Am I remembering incorrectly that there was one game like a Mario game where you could share and you could play the original Mario Brothers? like
Yes.
against each other.
Yeah,
That
that
way.
was it.
I
Yes,
know
right.
there was
Against each other.
there were some card games like clubhouse games. You were able to do
Yes,
that, and
Clubhouse.
that's gonna y'all. That would if that had come out way before this, or like a few years ago, this would have been huge for me because my daughter has two games she plays on her Switch: Animal Crossing and Clubhouse games,
Mm,
Yep.
and we would have been able to save money and not buy a secondary copy of Clubhouse games if we were able to share it. You know.
right.
Yes.
Now, but I will say there are some games that she plays that you can't play uh, like two player, even three or four player.
Right.
Like I said, what are you playing on there so much? And she's like, takoyaki. she's playing she's playing takoyaki on that thing and Uno, which is
That
what
What
I
one.
is
call it.
taki? What is that? I've heard of that
So
before. What is it?
takoyaki is you have 10 cards out, or maybe it's 12. They're laid out in two rows, and you turn one up. And if it's like if you turn up the two, then the next one you turn up needs to be three. And then if
Okay.
you turn up the three, and they're all mixed up, so they're not in the line. So if you turn up the three, then you turn over the four. You just keep going until you mess up, like you can't do it, and then the other player gets a turn. So you're trying
Okay.
to get rid of all your cards before the other player.
Okay.
It's
I
a
understand that
Japanese
concept.
game. It's like sushi. That's what it's called. Like it's like squid, fried squid is takoyaki or something like that. I don't know why it's called
So
that.
is there anything else about the game share that stuck out to you guys that I might have missed here
Well, it
before
was
I
nice
move
that
on?
Nintendo gave. It was nice that Nintendo gave us some kind of way to save some money.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going
So
to
and
get
that
enough of it.
Right.
right. I was going to mention here that's in our notes games. There are a list of preliminary list of games that'll be updated to support Game Share. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which I think that was super smart. I think that's a great one. Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury will support Game Share. Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, Super Mario Odyssey, and Big Brain Academy Brain versus Brain. All of those will support Game Share, and then additional Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games will also support Game Share. Um, so yeah, I mean, like that's a great list to start with. I fully expect to see that expand out pretty quickly.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad it came back as well from the
Yeah.
DS. We were missing that last time around, so I was hoping for Street Pass, but this works.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I'll talk about that later.
All right, let's talk about a little bit of the specifications, the specs, the hardware. We got a lot of different.
Quag31 in the chat says Picross at 120 frames a second.
Yes, so that is one of the specs, right? We get 120 frames per second, 1080p on the 7.9 inch LCD screen. I could go through the whole list, but I want to know what stuck out for you guys. David, what stuck
Listen,
out to you?
I'll tell you one thing. That was the one thing about the show that caught me off guard because I thought of any rumor that we heard. I said, "Oh, we're not getting no 120 frame screen. We're not getting no VR or HDR. We're not getting that." I pretty much just downplayed it. Even in my predictions, I was like, "We're not getting this."
You were
And
happy to
to
be
get
wrong,
that,
weren't you?
I had to be wrong. I said, "Oh,
You were
buddy,
happy to be
I
wrong, though,
take it."
right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been watching some of the previews of other YouTube channels like IGN. They kind of went in there, had some hands on, and man, that screen it really looks great. Like, oh man, you know what? To
Right.
be able to play Zelda like that, you know what? I might dig back into
So
it.
I've said this several times on the show because our good friend John Blanco brought it up to me in our Discord that this is pretty much the same LCD screen that's on the PlayStation Portal. And if you've ever had a PlayStation Portal in your hands and looked at that screen, it's phenomenal. Like
Yes.
you don't like this if you're thinking OG Switch 2 or OG Switch LCD screen, get that out of your mind. Get it out of here. Go out back, dig a hole, bury that thought, and come back you need to go find somebody who has a PlayStation Portal and try this out because
Yeah.
this is not a screen that you need to scoff at.
There was
Okay,
somebody I was watching that had their OLED right up next to the Switch 2 because they got to go attend it. And they were playing Mario Odyssey, I think, on it up against what was on the Switch 2. And they said the OLED, was great, but that LCD screen looked just as good as that OLED did.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm telling you that like for us as Nintendo fans, we've not seen a screen like that on a handheld. That's LCD.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk about that, like and say down Nintendo. I'm just saying this is not something that they've just thrown in there.
Right. It wasn't something that they went to a company and said, "Hey, we'll buy out all of those screens from you."
Yeah,
That of those
100%.
ones you can't use anywhere else. What else stuck out to you guys as far as specs?
I love that the first thing that they showed about the Joy-Con, Joy-Cons being magnetic. I don't know if y'all caught this. Was them shaking it
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
trying to knock the Joy-Con loose. And they did not confirm electromagnets. Like they didn't use the word electromagnet, but they are electromagnets. Because if you
They
go back
implied.
and
Yeah.
if you
They
go
said
back and
they-
watch it, it says an electric circuit is created.
Yeah, they use the term magnetic circuit, which is silly by itself. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's an electromagnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Further to kind of confirm that is they did go on later to say that the new and larger SL and SR buttons are metal. And so the connections that they're
Mhm.
making with the body of the Switch, it's metal on metal. So for me, like one of the things that always bugged me about the Switch was that the left Joy-Con for me, and I think there's other people who felt like this, the left Joy-Con always felt a little bit loose, like a little bit wobbly, more than the right one. Or some, I know people have had ones like this one's more loose. I don't think this is going to feel loose at all. Um, but one thing I noticed too from the video is there is definitely a way to put these things on. Um, like
Mm.
everybody that did it started from the bottom, like
Yep.
put it in the notch
Yeah.
and then click it up. And so what I'm
I
wondering
think
is, can you
I
do
think the
that from the
magnet.
top?
The bigger magnet is up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Mine,
guess is
bigger.
no, because I think just the way it slides in place once you get close enough for that magnet to kick in, and it's just going to suck it in. I think you're going to want the bottom in first, and then as it goes up. That's just my
How
guess.
long until the first lawsuit that says my kid's finger got pinched in the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con, and now I want $1 million in damages because little
Right.
Timmy cried.
Well, then you ask them, okay, who is the third hand holding on to the Switch? That because someone needed to have to hold onto the Switch, someone had to hold onto the ground, and still have a third hand that gets pinched.
Yeah.
Someone had to help.
100%. Right, 100%.
Right.
One thing that I do want to point out, and I know Tim, you're asking for like what stuck out to you or what you like. Here's something that stuck out to me that I didn't like about the hardware was a feature that I have enjoyed quite a bit since it's been added is Bluetooth connection to my headphones.
Hmm.
That was not mentioned at all. Zero Bluetooth capabilities of this console were mentioned at all.
Yeah.
And so I really want that to be a thing from the beginning, and here's why. Because if Game Chat works with the microphone on the thing, then I would love Game Chat to work with the microphone on my headphones.
Absolutely.
Right? And their silence on that leads me to believe probably it won't. Because they were very quick to say other USB cameras work for the camera for Game Chat, but nothing about Bluetooth headphones at all.
They don't want people in their cameras looking like this.
Right.
No, they want you to buy that $50 camera.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the Piranha Plant camera today?
That was who made that one? Hori.
Hori is releasing a camera that looks like a piranha plant. It's officially
Oh
licensed.
man,
The camera is in the piranha plant's mouth.
Yep.
That's funny.
that's funny.
To me, it's the better looking one. The other one's just like an eye on a stick.
Yeah, right.
I just make that one first.
Right.
Just let
Yes.
that be the one. But anyway,
It has to look more upscale for
and I'm gonna throw this out there too. Here's the other thing I don't like. Yes, yet again, I'm buying another micro SD card for Switch.
That's what I wanted to mention. Be
Yep.
careful
So let's-
when buying these because the normal micro SD cards won't work, and even if the listing says high speed, if it doesn't say express, it won't work. And right now, like when I checked on yesterday morning, there was only 3 express cards on Amazon. 2 were SanDisk branded, 128 gig for 45 or a 256 gig for 60. And then there was a Lexar branded 1 terabyte for 200, but now it's not there. So not sure what happened to
Probably
that
already
one.
sold out.
I
Maybe.
picked up a 512 from Lexar.
Yeah, but considering you're getting 256 internal storage off the bat, getting an extra 256, doesn't sound like a lot. Doesn't sound like that's worth it. So I'm waiting until more manufacturers put out higher capacity cards. I'm sure they will soon.
There's supposed to be SanDisk Nintendo branded ones on launch day.
I still avoid the Nintendo branded ones because they're like 15% more expensive.
They are more expensive.
I was just going to throw this out here that on my micro SD card and on a lot of other micro SD cards that you can find, the logo says micro SD XC. That does not mean Express. All right, those are the ones you've already been using.
It'll use the full word Express on the label.
Yeah, and when you try to Google or search these in Amazon, they are extremely hard to find.
Yeah, it's not even the first 2 matches. It was like the 6th match before
Are
a
they
real
that new?
Express
Is this format
card.
that new?
I don't know if it's that new or just that unused up to this point. But again, now that the Switch 2 is going to want it,
now I will say
I think
that
it'll be more popular.
If you buy Lexar's is the Play Pro. That's how you can tell the Lexar's it's the Play Pro.
And it has a triangle button on it.
Yep, like a play button on it. Yep.
Like a play button. That's right. So Lexar's 1 terabyte play. Guys, y'all may want to jump on this right now. Ships from Amazon.com, sold by Amazon.com. A 1 terabyte Lexar Play Micro. Oh no, that is not the one you need. Okay. No. I was gonna say it was $63 right now. But
listen, I'll get my phone ready.
Then Friendo said his Temu $15 one won't work.
No. No, and David, you're right. It does need to say Play Pro, and there is one that's they have a Play brand, but if it's red and black and it says Play Pro on the side, these are on Amazon right now, $199.99 for a 1 terabyte. But here's my problem: I have a 2 terabyte card and it's almost full.
Yikes.
So where is my 2 terabyte Express card?
Right.
They don't make them.
They're not
out there right now.
If they do, it's going to be $400.
So I'm gonna have to trim the fat.
Right.
I'm gonna have to go to the gym for my games.
Right.
That's just the only thing. Like, it's annoying to have to buy another, because like it was on sale when I bought the 2 terabyte card, but it was still more than
yes
a couple of games.
Now, believe it or not, I still have my 200 gig in my current Switch. So I'm going to get more 256 in the Switch too. But I know the games are going to be bigger too. So, but yeah, I get it.
The only other issue I had with the specs is the one I had to go out and search for was the battery life of the system.
What'd you find out?
I think it's 2 to 6.5 hours.
Okay.
So it's like a half an hour less than the original Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I think the original Switch was 2.5 to I think 6. So I mean,
Again, it'll depend on the game.
yeah, it all depends. I wish it was a little bit higher because that tells me I might get 2 games of Madden in before I have to charge it.
Well, that's why you've got to buy the carry-on charger and
Yes,
all
something
that
else I gotta buy.
stuff, right? Well, they're banking
Yeah,
on that.
So the
yeah.
Steam Deck is 2 to 8 hours on a single charge.
What about the Steam Deck OLED?
Steam Deck
better.
OLED. That says it is. That somebody said about 2 hours for them, but it didn't say what game they're playing. 3 to 12 hours.
3 to 12 hours. See, I can deal with that. That 3 is a good buffering point for me. Not too many times I'm in handheld mode for more than 3 hours, but
Yeah.
in the beginning when we get Metroid in our hands, whew,
Yeah.
oh man.
Exactly.
I don't mean to switch subject, man. Did you guys see Metroid today?
Oh,
In that
in the
treehouse?
treehouse.
Oh my goodness.
I
Chef
watched the
Sif
first
wasn't.
minute, and then I was like, I can't watch anymore because I want to experience the first parts myself. So I stopped watching.
I was not.
See,
I was not strong, Tim.
Tim did
Right.
what I
Like,
do with games that I'm really anticipating. I kind of go into a media blackout. Like when Mario Wonder came out, there were people who knew all
oh
kinds
yeah.
of things about that before it dropped, and I wanted to I ignored every Nintendo Direct about it. I did the same thing for Metroid Dread.
Oh
Like I was so hyped about that. I was like, I'm not watching. I don't want to know any worlds. I don't want to know any powers. I want to go in just what I've seen in the Direct,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just what they've leaked to me in that, and to me that makes it such a better experience. But I really like. I think after I get off the podcast tonight, I'm gonna watch today's Treehouse stuff.
Yeah, they were
Just
showing off
because.
the
So,
beginning of
Woo.
Metroid, weren't they?
Yeah,
So
buddy.
that's why
Oh my
I was
goodness.
like,
okay,
I can't watch anymore because
so
I want to experience the beginning.
right there, should we talk about games then now?
I do.
Yes.
I wanted to do one more thing before we move on.
Sure.
They mentioned that the Nintendo Switch cartridges had a black border. Switch 2 games will have a red border. And they're also introducing something called Game Keys, which I don't think I'm a fan of. They're basically
Mm,
empty games that you have to download the
Yes.
digital copy, but that digital copy is not tied to your account. It's still tied to that cartridge. So at least you still have a tangible item you can sell or trade.
So I think
But
people
still,
originally
I don't know if I like that.
I think people originally really freaked out about that, like when it came out. But the more I saw about it, the more I felt I was okay with it because of what you just said. Because let's think, what was a game that came out for Switch that when you opened up the case there wasn't a game in there, it was just a download code? What, like, was
I'd
it
say
like
Just Dance.
half of the Mega Man collection.
Just Dance, half of the
Yeah.
Mega Man collection, Tetris 99? Do you remember they sold a
Yeah.
box for Tetris 99? So
Fortnite.
now Fortnite. So now I'm going to
Mhm.
get a game. I'm going to get a plastic card that I put in my Switch, and then when I'm done with that, if I want to take it down to the to the store, or I want to trade it to a friend and resell it, there you go.
Yep.
Right? I
Yeah.
think that's. I actually think there's an upside to that.
Yes. And I want to let me
It-
just say real quick to clarify
go
because I
ahead.
keep saying I see Mecha Dragon. He's talking about misinformation. We're not saying all games will be this way. We're saying
No.
some games, just like you said, Mecha Dragon, in there, based on what the company decides to do, we'll sell it that way. But not all games are going to be that way.
Yeah, like
So,
Street Fighter.
great
I think
example.
Street Fighter 6 is one of those games.
Great example. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition is one of those. It's a game key card already confirmed.
And
Yeah.
Cyberpunk says they will not do that. It will have the whole game on cart, and they are going with
Yeah.
a 64 gig cart.
Yeah. So will Mario Kart and Donkey Kong.
Now that's
So-
something right there too, to have a 64 gig cart with the full game on it for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That's something right there.
That's
Yeah,
something right.
I love the red cartridges. I just think that's a cool detail.
That is cool.
It's a little Nintendo thing. But you know why? One of the reasons I love it the most is
They're going to
do
taste
you
like
remember-
raspberry.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. It's a game and a snack, which would justify the price, maybe
You got,
a little bit. But
Yeah, a $70
that's a
snack.
delicacy. It's a
what
delicacy.
what about what do y'all know about 1993, 1992 Maximum Carnage? Spider-Man
yeah, yeah,
Maximum
yeah.
Carnage
Oh,
for
yeah.
Super Nintendo with the red cartridge.
With the red
right?
cartridge, boy.
Come
Yeah.
on.
There were limited
I-
Doom
like,
ones
I-
that were red too, weren't there?
Yes, I remember
Mhm.
that. Doom came out. Y'all remember Doom came out on the Super Nintendo?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me. To think back, it's like Doom came out on the Super Nintendo,
Yes.
and honestly, probably was several people's first exposure to Doom.
Yeah.
It was mine.
All right.
I had
Before
a
we,
friend who had it.
And Friendo says, "Will the pack-in be a cart or code?" I'm like, "What pack-in?"
Mario Kart.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know,
So,
probably that Mario Kart
Mario
bundle.
Kart one has been confirmed to be a full game download code.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Before-
heard. There was,
before we jump into the games, let's talk about the system itself and the cost.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah, we haven't done that yet.
So
yeah.
the system's cost is going to be by itself, just the system is $449.99 US. Or you can get a limited bundle. It's limited bundle with Mario Kart World for $499.99. What do you guys think of that price? Those prices for those two different SKUs.
it's
Is it-
it's way more.
If you
expensive than I
if
thought
you
it
want
was gonna
Mario
be.
Kart, if you want Mario Kart, the bundle's the way to go because
You'll save
that's
30
the mon-
bucks.
There's the monkey paw part that I mentioned. Mario Kart is going to be an $80 game.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know what? I could deal with the price of the system. Even though I was expecting it to be $400, I can deal with the price. The price of the system don't bother me too much. You know, it's just that, and then now an $80 game, a $70 game.
setting the precedent of that expensive games. And
Yes.
there were a lot of people who, when they first saw that, they're like, well, that's just going to be Mario Kart World. But then Target's listing for pre-orders came out, which are not live yet. It just says coming soon, and they confirmed Breath of the Wild Enhanced Edition $79.99, Tears of the Kingdom
Right.
$79.99, Kirby $79.99. The only games on that list that weren't $79.99 were Street Fighter, Bravely Default, and Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
And so
Street
my
Fighter is
question-
$6.
My question is, are we going to see, like at the end of the life cycle of the Switch, and I guess we could call it the end of the life cycle when Tears of the Kingdom came out, that was the first game to bump that $69.99 price point. And Nintendo even said then, this is not going to be for every game. And I mean, we even got Mario versus Donkey Kong, I think was $39.99, like right around that, or after that.
Yeah. And I've
so
mentioned
are-
before that in Japan, the games are pretty variable. Like there are like games like you can pick 4 games that are always $59.99 here, and they could range between 6,000 and 9,000 yen.
Yeah. So we're moving to a more, I won't say Japanese price structure, but I mean, I guess that's what it is. Like that's
That's
their culture.
kind of where I was leaning toward. Yes,
Nintendo's culture pricing structure.
Well, we
So,
saw
yeah,
it back in the SNES days, the different pricing structures.
Well, here, Tim, let me pontificate on why so many people are not okay with this. Okay, and here's why. Here is my number one reason. It's because so many of us who are now parents who are upset about this did not see those prices when we were that age or when the Super Nintendo was out because our parents bought those games for us.
No, we
And
did.
We don't remember. Well,
My parents didn't buy me games. I bought my own games.
okay. Well,
Because they
okay,
wouldn't
let me
buy
just
those.
say, some people's parents bought
I
them games.
agree.
Yeah.
Okay, some people's parents bought them games. I have a friend who today he and I were talking about this, and he says I remember paying $70 or $80 for Final Fantasy II
Yep.
on Super Nintendo.
And that's even
Yeah,
more
that's true.
I didn't remember
because
that.
of inflation, how much
Mhm.
that is, back in
Sure,
the day.
sure. Like I don't
But
remember
I
that,
get
and
it.
I guess I, there may be some people who don't like it when I say this, and we're not going to go here. We're not going to get political about it, but maybe that's just privilege, right? Is like my privilege is I don't know what games cost back then because I was an only child, and because so my parents had more expendable income to use on me. But like you guys are saying, no, I bought my own games. I know how much they cost.
Mhm.
But I do think that there are some
Well,
people out there who can't understand why these games cost them that much or even fathom paying it because they're like me.
yes. And I said this before. The reason why my parents didn't buy my games is because they got burned by the game crash.
Mhm.
Yes. I remember you saying
They
that.
bought into the Atari 5200.
Mr. Atari 2200.
Yeah. And
Yes.
bought into it big time. And then when it crashed and then they stopped selling it and then they went immediately to the 7800, my parents were pissed that they spent all that money, and they were like, "No, we're not going to spend any money on this Nintendo stuff." And so when I wanted it, I saved my money when the Super Nintendo came out, and that's when I bought my own games. So but that again, this goes back to the whole thing about those prices back then. I remember seeing the ads for the different prices for depending on the games and what they were. If you can go back, you can even look on some of the YouTube videos where they go back and show some of those Toys R Us videos,
Mhm.
where they talked about some of those game prices, where you go picked up a tag and it was $60 for this game, $100 for that game. It was just
Mhm.
dependent on what that game was. So it's going back to that. It's going to go back to you're going to pay for that AAA game that they put, $1 million, $2 million, and $3 million into. So it's
What about
crazy.
these? What about these parents that have to buy more than one system? That was my issue. It's like, you know what?
Mm.
I got 3 kids. I'm going to have to end up trying to help get them a Switch. And that's 3 systems. Well, that's $1,500 before tax.
Yeah.
You
Right.
And
know,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, there's
and that's not even a game. That's not even a controller. That's just that. I mean, wait, it is Mario Kart, but still, that's it.
right. And for them, yeah, because the limited part too with the Mario Kart bundle, I'm considering that for my kids too. So I just got to figure out, like my son, he's like, I want this, and my daughter's like, I might wait. So maybe during the holiday, maybe there might be a
Yeah,
new bundle, but we'll see.
my son's already starting to budget. He goes, if I
Yeah.
save this much money out of each check, I've got 5 checks before this launches, I can do this.
Yep.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah, my
definitely
son,
for you, David. I don't know how old your kids are, but you're budgeting for 3 systems. It sounds like so.
yeah. Well, you know what? My my youngest son, he was smart. He took all of his money he made over this past fall, and he had his paid off before the beginning of the year. So he was smart about it. But my other son that's in college, he had a birthday coming up, and he was just like, "Daddy, I'll take this for my birthday."
Yes.
I was like, "Yeah, I bet you will."
Right.
So
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's different
I
though
got 3
too.
this year.
It's different though too, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
in 2017, that was $300,
yeah,
and now it's
yeah.
$500 if you're getting the bundle.
yeah.
So just a little perspective on that from a kid. My son and I were talking about price and everything, and he is like, I've saved my money. He's like David's son. Like he's been squirreling a little bit away, while also trying to pay on a car. And so
Mm.
I said, "Are you going to try to get it?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." So he wants me to try to get him a pre-order at Best Buy, so that he and I can go to the midnight release together.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Isn't that
and
cool though?
y'all,
Let's
I'll
talk
be
about that
honest.
a little bit. That's cool that Best
Yeah,
Buy is
so
doing that,
I'm
right?
glad I'm
Hmm.
glad they're bringing
Absolutely.
it back. And I was also going to say this and saying that this is going to be a little bittersweet for me because my son turns 18 next week,
Yep.
Yeah.
and on Wednesday, and this is going to probably be the last console release with him as a kid in my house.
Yep.
Now, I mean, I think he's. We'll be honest. I think he's going to live here while because he's going to a tech school. That's
Mhm.
what he wants to get into IT, and so um, I think that. But just not like the passing of the torch, like saying
Yeah.
18 you become a man or whatever.
Mhm.
This is going to be the last one, right? And it's also going to be the last one where I'm kind of be like, man, I might help you out on that. Like after this, it's like, hey man, you're making your own money. You're doing your thing.
Mhm.
Right.
But it just all of this kind of happening in the same like 2 month span is kind of putting some things in perspective for me. Um, Now he's got another year of school left, so thankfully it's not like this like he's going to do that and graduate and all boom 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 together. He technically he would, but we held him back a year. Um, but it's just going to be interesting. He does. I mean, he said I can't pass. His words: I can't pass up Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. And look, in the Grinch when it says, "And his heart grew 3 sizes," that was me in that moment. I was like, "Oh, he's not forgotten about Nintendo."
Right.
Right.
Like he's not forgotten what brought him to the dance, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, dude's first system was a doorstop DS, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Mhm.
The
Oh
wedge.
man.
Yeah.
The wedge.
The
The two
Wedge.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got that when he was like 5 or 6. And that was
Yes.
his.
Same with Sammy.
Uh,
And so we've grown up with Nintendo over the
Yep.
years. He saved up and bought his own. Well, he got a Switch. He we went kind of went in half with my mom and us.
You know
And
that.
then when I got the Zelda OLED, I passed my OLED down to him, so he had the OLED.
Yeah.
Um, so this is going to be his first one that like he and I are going to go stand in line. We're going to do all that. Last time we did that was the SNES Classic release at
oh man.
Walmart. I brought and listen, I ain't fooling when I say this that I brought me a daggum lawn chair into Walmart and I sat down at the front of the line. Me and him both. We had our camping chairs and
Yes.
snacks because we got there at like 6 o'clock and they're like, "What are you guys doing?" I was like, "I know you're selling the SNES Classic tonight." And they're like, "Yes, we are." I said, "I'm first in line."
Yes.
There we go.
My oldest and I did the same thing with the 3DS, the original first 3DS. We we were there for the midnight launch for that, and we had our chairs. We were there waiting. It was great. So
I did that for the PlayStation 3. I stood in line for a whole day, and then turned right back around and did it again for the Wii because they both came out simultaneously.
that's
Oh, wow.
But
crazy.
I
Walmart,
Yeah.
remember
I
that.
forgot
That
about
was like they both launched at the same time, right?
same
they're like
weekend. Yeah,
a day apart.
Day
yeah,
apart. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
That was
crazy.
good time.
I'm concerned a little bit about what Nintendo's doing with the pre-order. Nintendo is going to set up their own set of pre-orders. You can go to their website and say you're interested in it, and if you meet certain criteria, I think it includes you have to have had NSO membership for at least a year. You have to have put about at least 50 hours in who knows what duration. So I'm like, yeah, I meet all these. That's fine. But they're going to send out invites in waves. Very similar to what PlayStation did back, with their direct plant program. But they're not starting their first waves until like second week in May.
Hmm.
And Best Buy's doing their pre-orders next week. I'm like, do I pre-order Best Buy in case I don't get into with the Nintendo thing? And
And that's what I'm doing.
then I'm conflicted on what I'm going to do.
I sent out
I'm
my
doing
invite. I registered so I can get the invite, but I'm also doing Best Buy. If I don't secure one at Best Buy, then that the Nintendo will be my backup.
I
That's probably
think.
what I'm going to end up doing.
Plus, I think some of these locations are going to have limited pre-orders. So, like
Yep.
David, you said you're trying to get 3. I think
Hey,
some of
that's
them are going to
right.
be one. You can only get pre-ordered one, so you might have to
I
do three
heard,
different places.
I think someone said in the Discord that GameStop is doing one per address. So, like, my son and I could not both pre-order one,
Yeah, yeah, which is
which
Mm.
is
crazy.
What
that
Best Buy's
sounds
doing one
wrong.
per address.
No,
No,
GameStop.
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 GameStop. Oh, well, I was going to say I'll just use my office. Uh,
Well, that works.
Right. Right.
Right.
I mean that I already get all my Amazon sent there. So
Well, you guys were also
uh,
talking about your kids getting older or being it. They are older, some of them. Mine too. In the treehouse stuff, they were talking. Some of the people that were showing off some of the games, they were talking about when they were showing off the game chat. They were talking about how this brought them back, or when they were showing off the GameCube games too. They brought them back to the GameCube days when they were in college, playing with their friends.
Hmm.
Local four player. They kind of felt they got the same feels when doing the game share and or playing some of those GameCube games, which we'll talk about soon. But speaking of games, Nintendo did talk about three types of games that the system will play.
love that segue, Tim. Way to
One
go.
game is the Nintendo Switch 2 games, which will take advantage of performance and features. Second type of game is the compatible Nintendo Switch games that we got. Like most games will be compatible. We know not all of them will be, like Labo, and stuff like that. And then the third type of game is the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, which has improved visuals, unique ways to play on the NS2, and more. And that'll, of course, mean that you'll have to purchase an upgrade for that NS1 version of the game. When I say NS1 and NS2, I mean Nintendo Switch 1, Nintendo Switch 2, for those listening. So, some of those select Nintendo Switch games will get paid upgrades to enhance the game to Nintendo Switch 2, such as Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. What did you guys think of that when you guys saw that? Especially with some of those camera features.
Um, it, I got excited. That's the reason why I said, well, man, I may have to go ahead and buy this game because of the fact that, I got some kids. Man, I got kids all over the country. I can't say it like that, but my son is in my son is in Michigan.
A
But
different
it's good. We
kind
can
of
all,
family show tonight.
but it's good that by him being way up there, and and all of us down here, we can all kind of get together and be able to see each other's faces and play. It's like being in the same room. So I thought I was really excited about that. So you know what? And all we need now is multiplayer Metroid in the same setup, and I'm ready to go.
Oh man, that'll be interesting.
Hmm.
That would be interesting, right?
That I
So
wonder
Come on, this
DLC maybe. We
I
never know. We don't know what they have up their sleeves.
yeah, I thought this was pretty genius to make Mario Party like a game show. I think that's the best way to do this kind of integration.
hmm
What really, really impressed me on this was a couple of key things. Number one, the players' faces being shown on screen
Yes.
during
hmm
the game.
Yep.
I thought was really cool. That's a like if that's the kind of integration we're going to get from game chat and all that, then I'm on board 100% with that. The other thing that I thought was cool was the integration of like actually having people stand in their space and play and jump and hit the boxes and stuff. One person, well, no, it's while we were doing our live reaction when that came up was it's very Connectish, right? You remember
hmm
my Xbox Connect? Um, and one thing that I noticed with this too that they didn't really talk about how it's doing it or what you do to have this happen is, and they did this in game chat too. Just when they were showing Mario, in the different games people were playing, or sorry, Mario Kart and the different games people were playing, that camera pulls your background out automatically.
Mm.
And I wonder if that has something to do with the frame rate that we saw on those games that are being shown, because it's doing all that. And how does it know? How does it like obviously I don't know, like I've got an Elgato face cam.
Yeah.
That's what I'm using here for me to record. I'm probably not going to buy the Nintendo camera, right? Because I'm willing to bet that this Elgato face cam is better quality
Is it
than what
USB
Nintendo's
C?
is.
Is it USB C plug?
It is.
Though?
It is USB C.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. Perfect. Well, and also think about
But
the
here's my
company
other.
in regards to
Go ahead,
the
Tim.
pulling
Sorry.
them out for the pulling out the background. You got to remember who they're working with on that processor is NVIDIA. And NVIDIA has a program that you could add to your PC that utilizes software to pull people out or pull backgrounds out and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff and
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
special camera stuff and all that stuff with their GPUs. So it doesn't surprise me that maybe they're using some of that tech there, or maybe it's Nintendo's own tech. You know, Nintendo likes to do stuff too. We'll see a patent for it or something. And who knows, maybe there was already one out there and we just didn't know what that was about. But what else were you going to say, Marty?
100%. Well, I just, you know, I'm willing to bet that in all of that, like that camera's $50, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, camera technology has gotten a lot better, but I don't think it's that good.
Yeah.
To be as clear.
We've
as it
seen
was.
Nintendo's cameras before.
Right. So I'm not saying that they're lying to us. That don't hear that at all.
Right.
I'm just saying I think that I'm going to stick to my USB camera. It does beg the question though, if your camera is not USB-C, can I use a dongle that's like a USB-A into a C and it work on the Switch?
I don't know.
We'll have to find out. It may have to
But to
depend
be
on-
determined.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll have a video on
there's
that.
lots of little things.
Here's Marty
Lots of
trying
little
all the
things,
different
right?
cameras with dongles and stuff.
I'll get right on that. That'll be the first thing I do when I get my Switch. Actually, I'm going to say this because I said this when they talked about release date, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Which we didn't even cover that for the hardware. I literally am leaving that day with a group of 47 students to take them to camp.
What day is that, Marty?
On June 5th.
There you go. June 5th is the release
2025.
date.
And we have to drive 3.5 hours and cross a time zone, so 4.5 hours actually. So the midnight launch at Best Buy is the only way that I'm going to get it and not have to wait 5 days past everybody else. It'll be June 10th. Yeah, we'll be home June 9th. I would have somebody pick my pre-order up, but that all of my hopes are riding on a Best Buy midnight launch.
Yeah.
I have to be able to get one of those spots.
Yes. For sure.
So,
Yeah.
like I'm really hopeful. Like on Wednesday, I'm gonna be spamming the crap out of that website. I don't care. I'm
You
gonna
and I
have the
both.
app on it, and I'm gonna have the app on it and the computer. I may have my iPad. I may have all of it. I'm not and understand, like, before I say that, like, I'm not looking to get multiples, right? I just want one. I want to get one for my son and one for me, and that's it.
That's it.
We're
Yep.
done. Yeah, we're done after that.
Nice.
Y'all can have the rest.
All right. Some of the other features on the Super Mario Party Jamboree before I jump off of that is the Bowser's Live thing. Players use the Nintendo Switch 2 camera and microphone to control the mini games like you were talking about, Marty. And then the Carnival Coaster using the mouse controlled games, using those Joy-Cons as mouse controls. We didn't talk about that as specs further. What do you guys think about those mouse controls? Well, you know what? Actually, let's save that for that other game that they were talking about there. We'll talk about the mouse controls for that one. So, Mario Party Jamboree, July 24th, and players who already own Super Mario Party Jamboree can purchase an upgrade pack to get the new features for Nintendo Switch 2. Which I don't think we saw the price for the upgrade packs yet.
They haven't announced any price, but people are guessing it'll be between $10 and $20.
Yeah.
Depending on how feature rich it is.
On the subject of upgrade packs, there are some that are going to be free with NSO and expansion pass. Those are the ones for Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
And those are shown in Japan as coming in somewhere between or around $11 USD once you do the yen conversion. So a lot of people are saying between 10 and $15 for those, which is
Those-
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine
If
with that
that,
too.
but I would say this for those are the ones that are to me are less heavy duty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because like Kirby and Mario Party, they're putting brand new stuff in the game. Like Kirby's getting a new story with for Forgotten Worlds, and then you're getting Jamboree TV. I'm willing to bet $20 to $25 for those that add those features.
Like new content type stuff.
Yeah.
Like new, yeah, like a whole different part of the game,
Yeah.
right?
So not
Although,
just
and I'm
enhancements to
willing,
the
I don't,
graphics.
yeah, I don't think that those will be included with the expansion pass.
No, they're
I
not.
think you're like
Mhm.
They're
$10,
not. They already called it out.
$10 ones.
It's already called out on the website.
Oh, they're not.
Yep.
So what is it, gonna be
Gotcha.
$20?
It doesn't say the price. It
For
just says
Kirby?
that the Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are included in the NSO expansion pack. So you'll get those, and those.
But since Kirby is $79.99, I think if regular is $60. So I
yes,
would think what $20.
yes, that makes sense. And then let me be clear too. And I'm talking about the enhancement or the add-on stuff, not the whole game included in the in expansion pack. It's just you get the for the Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you just get the Nintendo Switch 2 edition as part of that. So you have to have the base game in order to get it.
Yes.
Speaking of which, if you do have to pay for them separately, if you're going to buy the whole games themselves, you get the enhanced resolution frame rates and all that on release date for Breath of the Wild is $70 USD and $80 for Tears of the Kingdom.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a bump of $10 for each of those. And those will be available on release date.
I mean, not every game, and they did mention more games are going to get some free upgrades that will make them playable or play
Yes.
better on Switch 2. But these are, were they clear about whether those would be labeled as Switch 2 edition games or
Yes.
whether it would just be an update?
These are Switch 2 edition or enhanced.
No, I'm talking about the ones that would get free updates. Like they showed they showed I'm trying to think of a game like Mario 3D World was in that little scroll of all the different games zipping across the screen, and it said it'll get an update to make it Switch 2, ready or whatever. Is that a Switch 2 edition game, or is it just because these have distinguishable differences?
Right.
If
Wrong, but I was under the impression any game that is going to have an upgrade path will get its own new red cart on shelf version that has all the capabilities baked in. At whatever the higher price is.
I don't think all of them are. I think you can put in a Switch 1 game into your Switch 2 and there will be some enhancements
but then you have
from
to,
that.
But okay. I think if it's free, probably not. That's just downloadable. If it's paid, then I think yes. Then there will also be a red cart version of the game.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay, yeah, that would be the Switch 2 edition that we were talking about.
But of all the games mentioned in the Direct, they were all paid upgrades. None of them were free. Like, with the exception of the NSO package for Zelda.
But that's only because of the Zelda notes that you're going to be able to get to it too. But we'll talk about that more deeply later.
And a good point to bring up with this was one of the games that I've seen people call out time and time and time again since this presentation. With hopefully, is that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were shown to be were to be getting some kind of upgrade that would make them run more smoothly on Nintendo Switch 2 and reduce load times. And I think that's a big one that people are pinning their hopes on, right? Like to make that game better.
Right. So when we touched,
again,
Find out.
is that going to be? Is it
That
going to
is
be
a game I don't plan on going back to, but my son might.
Gotcha. Well, yes, I'm saying is that gonna be the Nintendo Switch edition, or is it gonna be? That's why I was asking the question.
and and we may have some of this information wrong too, because a lot of it wasn't quite clear. That a lot of people are confused by some of the wording that Nintendo used in this stuff. So we're still trying to clear it all up ourselves. But as you guys mentioned, there is the Kirby Forgotten Land, the new story there. It comes out August 28th. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond has a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. We'll have both the Switch and Switch 2 editions. Use mouse controls and explore the world in quality mode, which is 4K 60 FPS.
Never thought I would see this option in a Nintendo game, and it gave me a headache when I read it.
4K
100%.
60 FPS HDR docked or 1080p 60 frames per second HDR on handheld, which I am happy with on handheld.
Absolutely.
1080p 60 frames per second. I'm mainly playing
good.
handheld, so I'm good. So you good too, David, right? Yes.
Right.
You also have performance option. So if you are a person who likes docked mode, you have the option of switching between 4K 60 frames per second or 1080p 120 frames per second docked. So, or handheld, of course, again, like I said, between quality and performance, you got 1080p 60 frames per second HDR or 720p 120 frames per second, which again,
None of my docked monitors or TVs can do 120. So
Right.
the only display that would be the handheld baked in one.
yeah, I could do 1080p 60 frames per second here, but
Well, and
I'd
I
be
think
happy
this
with
would be
60.
we didn't mention this in when we were talking about system specs, but this would be a good place to say the Switch was confirmed to support up to 4K resolution and HDR on TVs that support that as well.
yes.
So they have really been keying in on some of the, I saw somebody explain this way today, and I didn't think about it until now. But it said, it's really cool that Nintendo's gimmick that they chose for this, while yes, it's the mouse, but it was also like, hey, yeah, we're going to lean into the power side of things a little bit. We're gonna go there.
Nintendo is playing with
And
power again.
it's kind of funny. And I'm just saying this. Look, when I say this, I'm pointing all my fingers at myself. It's kind of funny that people complain about the cost of this when Nintendo's doing exactly what
Exactly.
everyone asked them to do.
Hmm.
And we're all now it's like, oh, the world's burning down. It's a $450
Hmm.
Switch. And I guess like I wanted to just ask, like, what did we expect? I mean, yes. Did I expect $399? Yeah. But was I delusional? Probably. Because there's a lot going on in our world right now without getting super political about it. But like, we don't know if this is tariffs. We don't know if this is just economy or inflation. We don't know if this is Nintendo just like sitting back on a throne of money and being like, deal with it. We don't. It could be any until they make an official statement as to why they're charging this much for their games and this much for their system. We don't know.
That's one with you. I'm like, that's why
I
I
don't
had
like
no
it.
problem.
I'm not saying I don't like it, or I like it. Like, yeah, I'll just swallow that happily. No, I hate it.
Go ahead,
Well,
David.
But here we
I think
are.
I understand it. That's why it wouldn't. I can deal with the price of the system, and it's just the price of the games. It's like with the system, it's like somebody gave me a birthday cake, and then when you open the box, somebody ate 4 or 5 slices out of it. I was like, I was ready to give that direct the whole A. I was like, oh, this is an A plus. And then we found out the price, and then it was $80. It was like, oh,
Say
Yeah.
it. Say it louder. That is
oh
exactly.
man, that was just
See,
like it's like punches in the
That's what
gut.
I've been struggling with for a day and a half.
And I
Yeah,
was thinking about that, about why they didn't even mention price during the direct, and I kind of
exactly.
I talked myself into a reason, and that I agree that I think what happened. Well, one, they used all the Japanese talent, and then just voiceovered with English. So I didn't expect them to go over every single denomination. It's this much in dollars, it's this much in pounds, it's this much in whatever. So I wouldn't have expected them to do that. But on the other hand, they probably recorded that a month ago. They didn't know what the price was going to be. They probably came up with the price 3 days ago and then went live yesterday.
Yeah, probably.
It makes
But
sense.
it sure didn't feel like it. It still felt like a punch in my gut.
You said something earlier, David. That's and I mean, we're sitting in here in this pocket talking about games, but you said it about the system, and I think this is what I've seen a lot of people say, but it's a great thought. And you said, $450 for a Switch, for the Switch 2, like I can handle that, but it's this game price that's hard to swallow, and I want to I think it's a good chance for us to sit in the pocket and talk about that for a minute. If At what point do we have to say that, like, something's got to, like, I'm not saying something's got to give, like, because I mean developers deserve to earn money too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I see a lot of comparisons trying to mitigate, like, the heart, like, the horribleness of this, I guess is the only way to say it. And it's like, and to me it's like comparing apples and oranges, because, like, it's like, well, movies cost so much to make and movie tickets had to go up. Well, no, movie tickets went up because, um, you know, Hollywood studios are greedy and they charge so much to stream a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And or actors have to get paid so much. Well, do they really? Stuff like that. And again, we could go with the tariff argument, and, well, is it that, or what? Well, if it is, then weren't the companies supposed to eat some of that cost or whatever? I don't know. I just think that it's trying to compare two things that are diametrically opposed. Like, there's no other medium like video gaming, right? Where it's
Sure.
like interactive, where it's like you have favorite games and you got to buy them and you play them again and again, just like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, the price of a DVD hasn't gone up in how many decades,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, most DVDs
Like they're still
were
dropping.
1999. Blu-rays were $25 for a certain period of
Yep.
time, and then they start adding the special features to them, and you get them. And I get it, like, not they're like DVD sales and Blu-ray sales aren't what they used to be, but, like, trying to compare a Blu-ray movie that you sit through passively to a video game that you play, and, like, I don't know, like, I don't know how I'm trying to get at what I'm trying to say here is, like, I think that I will tell you what I think is going to happen. What I'm worried about is that a price like this will hurt games like Metroid Dread, because people will
Metroid
go,
Prime?
it's just single player. No, Metroid Dread. Like,
Okay.
games like Metroid Dread.
Oh,
Because
okay.
remember the discourse around Metroid Dread when it came out? It was, this isn't worth $60.
Oh, yeah.
This
Okay.
isn't worth $60.
Gotcha.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Now people are going to be saying, this ain't worth $80.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't worth $80. So what are we going to do with that? I mean, because I want games like that to keep getting made. When Mega Man 12 finally gets announced, and it's an awesome, solid 9 to 10 hour game, what are they going to? Are they going to charge $80 for it? Are they going to charge 70? So we're in uncharted territory, and a lot of people keep pointing to the cost of Mario Kart World as impetus for Grand Theft Auto 6 to be $100 or $90. I don't know. I mean, like, we've already been complaining about DLC being so much. What are your guys' thoughts on it? I feel like I'm rambling trying to put something together, but what do you think?
Well, I look at it from the standpoint, what's going to happen when like with Switch 1, it was easy to go and pick up a different system and have multiple systems in your house. I just don't foresee that for Switch 2. Not at that price point. I don't, to me, it just hurts the overall sales of the system long term, because, Switch Lite is an impulse buy. It could be, you can mess around and say, all right, I can figure out $200. When you say I gotta figure out half of $1,000, well, then your
Yeah.
thought process slows.
Especially
so
if you're
it's a
going to get
half month-
anything else to go with it.
Right, but to have this man, if you got kids, it was imperative that my kids all have their own. But I don't know about this go around. I mean, I don't thank God that my kids are older and some of my kids are going to buy their own Switch. But just
Yeah.
imagine you being a parent and your children are like 10, 8, 9, and you got to buy different systems. You know, it's going to be one system and they all going to have to share. So Nintendo's not going to have that ability to be able to just grab those multiple consoles out of one household. So that thought process of
I think
can
over
was Switch
time, I
2,
think they may add some of that, but yeah, not at least not in an initial launch.
yeah, not in this launch.
Not at
No,
this price. Not at this
yeah,
price.
Well, we've
yeah, I
talked
think
about that.
somebody made a point about how if it's not about this initial first wave, like Nintendo will probably sell out these first maybe second wave. It's gonna be like a year from now, how those sales hold up, and so I don't know, man.
And
It just
talking about that first, second wave that you were talking about, I think this is what we've talked about before, all of us. Even on, I think you've talked about it too on your Monday night news show, David. So, and that is this first wave is about us
yeah,
getting all of the Nintendo fans coming in, get them on board to buy this device and get that first bundle and all that fun stuff. And then we're going to be the voice of Nintendo, trying to get it out there to people. And then that's when it's going to be start again, like what was for the first Switch. We were the ones carrying like the voice of Nintendo, showing it off, bringing it to parties, whatever, or connecting with other people. And then that's when it starts building up the next 2-3 years
But
in
here's what I
sales.
worry about with that, Tim, is that one of the things, like when I was carrying my Switch around in the early days,
Yeah.
there was a novelty factor of it,
Yes.
yes,
right? There was what is that?
Yeah.
I can
hmm
play it in my hand and put it on the TV. Hold up, where do you
hmm
get one of those?
Mm-hmm.
yep,
It's just $2.99.
Yep.
I can
yes,
do that.
there it
And
is.
so I think part of the issue too that I find with this price is that what boosted sales of Switch in the early days and really kind of helped it catch fire was people buying multiples for their house.
That's right.
And
Yep.
you've got a situation where
Right.
maybe that can't happen anymore.
Yeah,
Because if
because
I'm going to buy two Switches for my house, that's $900. And
That's
then you
right.
add tax on top of it, that's $1,000
Yep.
right there.
A
yeah,
percentage of
So
when
your
Switch
your
one,
yearly income.
when Switch launched, I had all three kids at home. I didn't buy all of them, but by the end of that first year, we had four Switches in the house.
yeah. And that what I've seen people say today is that in the initial purchase period, like launch, first 6 months, that might not affect it because
Right.
there's going to be enough new, there's going to be enough excitement. Mario Kart World looks amazing. I do want us to talk about that in a little bit. We're gonna ride the wave of that because Mario Kart is the bread and butter of Nintendo Switch, number one
hmm
selling game still, and will continue to be the number one
Two
selling game.
for two
Um,
systems straight so far.
Yeah.
yep. So they know they have a hit on their hands, which is kind of why I suspect that they think they can charge $80 for it. But the other thing is that after that first 6 months, when the new wears off and the price really starts to hit home, when we see
The
Pokemon Legends
holidays.
ZA
The
come out
holidays.
swinging at $80, when we see the new Hyrule Warriors Age of
Imprisonment.
Imprisoning come out swinging at $80, that kind of thing. There's going to be a lot of people to go, hold up, wait.
Yes.
The second thing that's going to happen is there's also going to be a lot of parents who say, no, I can't afford that.
Yep.
Because
What is the
because to a lot of people, a video game system is still a three-letter word, a toy.
toy? hmm
I'm not paying $80 a
For
pop
no toy.
for no toy. Exactly.
For
That's
no
exactly
little
right.
red cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes like raspberries.
So, Marty, you were talking about some of the Switch games like Mario Kart World, But before we do that,
Yeah.
there was one more game that was going to be that we touched on with the enhanced version of the game or edition, Switch 2 edition, which is the Pokemon Legends ZA that you
Yes.
mentioned. It'll have both the Switch and Switch 2 editions for that in 2025 as well. But
Yeah.
let's jump right into that. The Switch 2 exclusive games, the games that take advantage of the performance and features of this new system, like
Yes.
Mario Kart World. What do you guys think of that showing of Mario Kart World?
The treehouse today was like it just put the extra icing on the cake.
Yeah.
I can just listen. I just tell you this much. I was sitting back and watching it. Was like, yep. I'm gonna have to pay this $80 because that game. It looked like it's worth $80.
So I got to tune in to the treehouse for one little segment, and I guess it was the end of their Mario Kart thing, and they were showing off the track, the new Donkey Kong track with the robot Donkey Kong, and I lost it. I was like, "You have got to be
kidding me!" I
If
know.
you didn't see this, Mario, they were playing as Mario, and they were racing on a track that is basically a recreation of the original Donkey Kong girder level.
Yes.
And the whole time, it's 8 laps, and the whole time you were trying to get to the top of this and race under robot Donkey Kong, who is throwing barrels at you all the time. There's the jumping fire, there's all of that. And y'all, it just like the whole level, I don't know if they made it this way or they planned it that way, but like it was.
It is creativity.
They mentioned the changing weather, like in the changing times, and so when they were playing it, it was like night, and there were clouds moving in front of the moon, and you could see the stars, and it was just like you said, chef's kiss, man. That sealed the deal for me.
Yeah.
Like I was already going to get Mario Kart. I'm already trying to get the bundle, right? Like I already want to get the bundle pack, but I just don't like. There are a couple of question marks for me about about Mario Kart World. We'll talk about them in a minute. But Tim, I want to hear what you think about it. Are you in on Mario Kart World?
They added so many features that are in other racing games that they finally added to Mario Kart that I'm excited about, which is like the knockout feature. When I got to watch during the Treehouse event, and I was already sold when they told me about it. And when I got to watch it, I was like, yep, that's exactly how I envisioned it. It is a feature, again, in other racing games, but to have it in Mario Kart, and the way to be able to go from track to track where you don't start a new track or go to others, because those what the other racing games do. You just keep going from track to track, and you have to cut into the other track, is really cool. So, and I think that's probably, I think Forza kind of does that type of thing, but again, there's some newer features here in a Mario Kart that I'm like, me as a racing fan of games, that is one feature I'm definitely looking forward to.
Did you notice today, David, during the treehouse, there was a moment where they were doing free roam right there at the end, and they like drove across a track where it looked like people were racing, like they drove across the road. And they were in like the middle of the buildings, and there were boxes, like the question boxes you get your items from. But there was also a golden lunch sack, like it was there, and they purposefully kept pulling away when the camera, like when the game caught sight of it, like they just kept on going. They did not mention it, but it looked like to me, like what I thought. In my mind, the first thought was, are there quests in this open world? Like, are there things I need to go find? Is this how I unlock different characters?
Is there a story mode to this?
Is it cause look, people have been asking for Diddy Kong Racing for a while, and I'm not a fan, but a lot of people like that format, and there was a story mode in Diddy Kong Racing, right?
Yes, right, sure was.
And so this is the way we're getting our cake and eating it too. Like we're having Mario Kart and the Diddy Kong Racing influence is there.
What date is the Mario Kart Direct?
The 17th
April
of this month.
17th.
17th.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
See,
like,
I
uh,
imagine we're going to
Vic-
get a ton of information then.
Victaris GX says Super Mario Cannonball Run. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I love
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that too. The other thing I wanted to say about this too is costumes are not characters. Okay, like I've seen people talking about all the characters that are in the game, and Mariachi Waluigi is not a separate character. That is bunk.
No, it's
Like
not.
I don't I don't like do
Seriously?
not
Are you
when-
seeing people talk about being that's a separate character?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's over 50 characters, and maybe they're counting all the. Here's the other sticking point that I have. Okay, here it is where in the crap are the Koopalings? They got rid of them and they replaced them with like the snowman from the random ice world on Mario.
Did they show the
Now,
full roster? I don't think they showed the
yes,
roster, did they?
I have had an image. Let me see if I can find it again. I was just looking at it a few minutes ago. But it was like full roster. Yeah, here it is. All the characters so far. So let's go through this. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Rosalina, Toad, Yoshi, Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Bowser, Toadette, Koopa Troopa, a bunch of crappy babies. And some there's video out there too of people going through the roster screen, by the way. So Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Baby Rosalina, Birdo, Goomba, King Boo, Pauline, Dry Bones, those ostrich things from Mario 3D World, the Bitty Bug from Mario 3D World, the frog coin thing from Mario 3D World, Spike, Cheep Cheep, Bowser Jr., Shy Guy, Nabbit, the penguin from Mario 64, Piranha Plant, Snowman, Monty Mole, Dolphin from Mario World, the fish, the skeleton fish from Super Mario World, Pokey, Ghosts from
Why?
Mario 3D World, Lackey 2, the crab from Mario Brothers, Chargin' Chuck.
Okay, that one I'm excited about.
Moo Moo, which is my new favorite main. That's going to be my main. Pianta, Hammer Brothers, a bee from Mario Galaxy, Wiggler, a bat, and those duck bill things from Mario Sunshine that throw you up in the air when they catch you. Those, and then there's costume variants of your main cast. Like King Boo with a monocle and a top hat. Distinguished King Boo. Lord Boo. If he's not called Lord Boo in the game, I'm going to be upset.
That is a big roster,
looks,
but that doesn't have those ones you were looking for.
It looks phenomenal. I'm going to be playing
it does look phenomenal.
Somebody did mention too, like, where's battle mode?
I guess we're going to hear more about that at the direct.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Then we're going to spend 20 minutes in that Switch 2 reveal just on Mario Kart.
Right.
But
we'll have a whole show about that.
I'm very excited about this game, and I'll own it despite the price.
We're gonna have to calm down Jesse because I know he's super excited about this game.
Yeah.
Right, Jesse?
Probably still going to get it just because literally I don't think there's anything else at launch that I'm interested in.
Okay.
And if I'm going to get it, I might as well get it as part of the bundle instead of paying an extra $30.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Tim, I'm going to throw it over to you real quick because tell us what game you really stuck out to you, or what games really stuck out to you from this.
Well, we're still talking about actually the
the big three.
Games,
that's right.
The Switch games, right? So the other one, this is going to be a hot topic, I'm sure. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Not necessarily a game, but they're going to charge you for it.
Here's the manual.
Yeah, confirmed.
What is going on there?
Confirmed to be about $6.
The game will be paid digital only game. Why?
Why? Why?
Why Nintendo?
If it's no more than $10, I don't think I have a problem with that. At least it's not 1-2 Switch that was 50.
Okay. But still, if it's going that be that cheap, why not just include it as part of the come with the system?
They
Right.
can make you an extra $1 million.
I get it. I totally get it. Especially when they showed it off at the Treehouse, there was a lot of content there and a lot to learn about it. Who's gonna go through the whole thing?
Who's buying it?
What's the
Anyone of you guys are
incentive?
buying it?
Probably.
I do plan on getting it, and I do
Yeah.
plan on streaming at least the start of it.
Yeah.
That's
What's the
kind of
incentive
one
of
the-
finishing it though?
So I don't know, but there is one thing that they showed on the Treehouse
Achievements.
today with it that was
Right.
that was very, very good. I thought.
And I am interested in it if it's what I'm thinking it is.
Is it the resolution with Mario?
Yes.
So there's a moment in the tutorial or in this program where they start at what? Help me out, Jesse. Here, what resolution do they start at?
240p-ish.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, yeah, the
Whatever the
original
native
Square.
NES resolution was.
Yeah.
Any
I
native
forgot.
NES resolution, and you have to finish 1-1 or do certain tasks in 1-1, and every time you complete that list of tasks, it goes up resolution.
Yes.
It goes to the next level.
That did
And
catch
you-
my ear when they talked about
and
that
you
one.
play it until it's in 4K.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm
There's
like,
going to be some cool.
sold.
Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some cool Nintendo things that they do in there.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can get my new PC built that has 4K displays, so I can actually stream in 4K. So people watching it with 4K displays can actually benefit from seeing that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I still don't understand why it's not part of the system. Why it's not
Yeah.
in there. It could be great. It could be wonderful. It's probably worth every penny of that $6 to $10, whatever that is, or if it's confirmed $6, probably worth every penny of it. But why do you have to pay for it separately?
That's right.
I don't understand that.
It,
All right.
it adds to
But
the-
ultimately, yes, I agree. It should be a pack-in. But again, if it's more than $10, I'm not going to be happy about it.
Honestly,
but if it's $10 or less, that's fine.
If it's that cheap, $6, come on, Nintendo.
that's
Come on.
But they would have
Bite the bullet.
but they would have added to the price of that, knowing them, because you pay for things that they are making. They don't knock down the price for anything. So if they're gonna give it to you for $6
Well,
or $5 or
but-
knock down the
but
price,
do you want it to become the new #1 selling Nintendo game out beyond Switch Sports or Wii Sports?
it's going to be right next to Mario Kart World.
Because the only reason why it is because it was a pack-in.
All right, here's
It is. Did you mention that it is digital only?
yes,
Yeah, it will
You
not be
just
on a
did.
card.
it'll be digital only, and it'll be on
Yeah.
out
You
in
can
release
choose.
day. Yep. Another one that could possibly be a demo type of game, showing off the mouse controls, is Drag and Drive. Dual mouse controls, 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball game. Looks cool. Will probably be a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
don't know the price of it, but summer 2025.
It.
if you got friends, if you got a bunch of friends, I think it looked pretty good today during Treehouse.
Yes.
It looked
They
quite
look like they had a
entertaining.
lot of fun. Yes, definitely.
And Nintendo's
College
always
dorm
looking
room
for more
fun.
Sports games.
Yes.
Right. This is a
Yeah,
a needed sports game for Nintendo.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but how are they seated or positioned in order to do dual mouse control?
They were all sitting at a desk,
Yeah.
essentially, and had a pad with the mouse controls on it, doing the things with the mouse.
Because dual mice is something relative. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that before.
Yes,
Because even PCs only have one mouse.
right,
So
right.
that will be an awkward way to play.
Yep, one side for each wheel. But you
It's
then
like,
lift
it's like
up.
tank controls but you actually got to do the movements yourself.
But then you lift up the one mouse, depending on whether you're right-handed or left-handed, and it'll automatically switch over to be able to shoot the ball with the Joy-Con.
Right. Or wave saying, I'm open, I'm open.
Yeah. So it's, again, impressive to see, and it'd be interesting to see how much it is. And I like the 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball. It's kind of like your Rocket League basketball game.
It better not be more than $30.
Right? It better not be the 1-2 switch of the Switch that Jesse was talking about.
If it's more than $30, I'll pass.
$50?
No,
I'm
30.
surprised we didn't say.
Right, no, I'm just saying it better not be
some
50.
It better not be 50.
I'm really surprised we didn't see some kind of game like 1-2 switch.
I'm glad.
Well, yeah, but Nintendo always has that like goofy.
Well, that's what Welcome to it is.
Yeah, but that seems a little more serious to them. Like it's always kind of like 1-2 switch. I think was kind of tongue in cheek, in a way.
Okay, I see what you mean.
I get you.
But also one of the things, and I know that we don't know the full launch lineup yet, but I was thinking the other day about how what I got with Switch 2 when it first came out was Zelda and Bomberman, and I also bought
Snipper Clips.
And Snipper Clips was that like rare little, it was in the right place at the right time. And I was thinking about how I wanted to revisit that before Switch 2 came out with my family. And I was thinking, what is that game? Where is that game for this?
Yeah.
And I don't think that we have one yet.
Not yet.
I agree, yeah.
Not yet.
That it's a cheap download that everybody can pick up and play. And it's like, okay, this is meant for me to have this Joy-Con in my hand, and to like get the feel of that, and like, show that, hey, two people can play with one set of controllers.
You don't think it's a 1-2 between the two games, between the World Tour or the Tour one and the Dragon Drive? There's two different games showing off the two different ways you can use.
Possibly.
You're saying both of them together is the $50 card.
Yes.
But yes. Snipper Clips was $19.99 when it came out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so if Dragon Drive is not $19.99, then what is it? I'm not.
Fair point.
And two, well, I want to say this too, is that like I love Dragon Drive. Like I love the concept of that. I think it looks awesome. But that's not a game that's going to be instantly accessible for everybody like Snipper Clips was. Like, even if, no matter the age, people could grab a hold of the Joy-Con and play Snipper Clips and, like, laugh and joke about themselves and, like, reset the little character and do it again, or whatever. It's both, the way that they approached the games in this direct was both weird and genius at the same time. And I say weird because we didn't get stuff like that, like with the first Switch, but also genius in that what they were saying with this direct was, hey, third parties come here and play. Like we are powerful enough for all of you to have all of your games here.
Speaking of third party games, we got a bunch of them. What third party game stuck out to you guys where you were like, oh my gosh, we got a third-party game. We got this game. Some of them probably not a surprise, but what made you feel good about it? David, what you got?
EA Sports.
Exactly.
The game.
Madden. I had my arms up. I was yelling. I was like, yes, finally. Finally. That was definitely one that stuck out for me. How about you guys? The rest of you guys?
I was excited for you for Madden.
Right.
This isn't I'm excited for. It's this looks gross, but Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD remaster. I'm like, it's HD, but they still look like DS models and they look gross.
Do they? I thought it looked pretty good. But I didn't play Bravely Default, so. But how about Street Fighter 6?
That's
Yeah.
the one I was going to mention.
Eh.
I am super excited. This is going to be on Switch.
Yep.
Exactly.
The other game that I'm super excited about that I don't think we saw. Oh yeah, here it is in our list. Is two more. The first one, no, three more. Here, I just keep reading the list. Three more.
Wait, four more.
Was,
Wait, five.
no, WWE 2K
Yes,
25
right.
is
There you
coming
go.
to the Switch. We have not had a 2K WWE game on Switch since
Since
19
18.
Paint
Yeah.
or 18. 18 was
18.
terrible.
Terrible.
Was
Oh,
awful.
Yeah.
But this looks like, I mean, having that game with me on the go.
that's right.
Yes, 100%. Also, they announced Enter the Gungeon 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
They sure did.
I can't wait for that. And then Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 is coming out on day and date on Switch, June 5th.
Yeah, but I played the first two chapters on PC, so I'm like, does progress matter, or should I
don't-
continue
I
playing it
don't
on
think it
PC?
does. I don't think it does.
Yeah.
And then the other one that really, well, I know I keep saying the other one, the more and more and more, was, I mean, there's just so many guys. Like, we're getting Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade. We're getting Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which looked amazing.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
We
And
need to
then,
listen. We need an update for this game here.
Yes.
oh,
need an
absolutely,
update.
Age of
Yeah.
Calamity.
We need an update.
That goes along with the Scarlet Violet thing too. So
Yep.
I guarantee you will see that one happen before the Age of Imprisonment
Yeah.
comes out. They'll want people to go back and play that original game.
That's
It would
true.
not surprise me if it got a Switch 2 edition.
Right. Exactly. That's what I was hoping. Like, that was the one that was kind of missing.
well, Age of Imprisonment's winter 2025, so they got some time to come. Get that.
Oh, yeah.
Switch edition
And then
out for the first one.
I'm going to jump ahead. I don't know if we were going to save this to the end, but y'all, that Donkey Kong game, oh my gosh. Bonanza,
Yep.
holy cow.
Bonanza.
Well,
Bonanza.
But
Bananza.
Bonanza.
Yes.
Uh,
Bonanza.
that-
Whatever.
That blew my mind.
I am not a big Donkey Kong fan, Marty, but this game looked fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I don't get excited like Donkey Kong like you guys do, like you and Justin do. Like you guys are the big Donkey Kong fans, but when I saw this one looked fun. This one I want to play.
So I'd say this,
was-
like, I'm not actually a huge, like, when you say huge Donkey Kong fan, like, it's not, like, I'm not, like, super fan of Donkey Kong, but, like, Donkey Kong Country was good.
yeah.
It was
Good.
great. I mean, I'm more excited, really, about his new design being featured so prominently in this game. Like, this doesn't just
Yeah, I
feel like
was-
a new Donkey Kong game.
I would say seeing this game makes the model in Kart World make more sense.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Well,
yep.
like, I don't think that, to me, this is not just a new game. This is a reboot of Donkey Kong as a character. As what it's whatever.
David, what were you going to say?
Well, when I saw the direct, I was like Marty. I was super excited. Was like, yes, Donkey Kong 3D. But then today,
In the treehouse.
Nintendo did not do that game any favors. That game was very, very boring. It was the
Really?
same kind of mechanic, the same. He was just destroying everything, and they kept highlighting the fact that the environment can be destroyed, and the environment will stay like it is. You can go back and look, but
So, David, let me just say this.
Yeah.
That's probably what I liked about it the most was that it was kind of like a hack and slash to me, a Donkey Kong hack and slash, where you're going through and destroying things and collecting things by destroying those things.
I guess we've been spoiled because our last couple of Donkey Kong games
God of
was
War.
Yeah,
was like
exactly.
really. Yeah. That's how I compared it to God of War, but it was God of War with no enemies. That was my issue. I could deal
He
with
was
the
just
its
smashing the
control.
environment.
He was just smashing the environment. It wasn't any enemies to kind of like give it a little a little challenge. It wasn't those levels they showed us just wasn't challenging enough. But they did have a particular part of the game that I really liked. It was almost like a shrine, like in Zelda. So in
Hmm.
Donkey Kong, they got these little spots. They like shrines, and so really really liked that fact that he went in there and that level was it was good. It was competitive. It was you had to really have some good platforming skills, and I like that part of it. But the majority of it, I'm telling you, that video I was like this, like everybody that was in the chat with me was like, this is not very fun. It
Okay.
it just looked like it was just too much smashing and not enough.
We got a lot to learn
Oh, you
more
go.
about. We got some time to learn more about the game. It comes out July
Right,
17th.
exactly. They got to show me more. So I ain't giving it a thumbs down yet. I was just like, man, it's like I was like this at the director, and then I was like,
Yep. Yeah, there you go. And so again, more games. The other one that wasn't mentioned that surprised me, I should have thought of it, but I didn't think of it, was Cyberpunk 2077. The
yes,
Ultimate Edition
yes,
coming to the
all
Switch
on the
2.
cartridge too.
Yes.
But it's 70
Which is,
bucks though.
again, is impressive that because you don't get very many companies who's willing to spend that money to put bigger games all in one cart instead of doing the download thing or the cart thing that they're doing now. So,
Well, one thing I noticed is all the hamster games are now going to be called Arcade Archives 2, followed
okay.
by whatever the game they're emulating.
Which was Ridge Racer. They're going to
Starting
have
with
that.
Ridge Racer,
Yeah.
which means they're
Fantastic.
probably so they're getting out of the 70s and 80s arcade. Now it looks like they're starting to get into the 90s, which does require a little more horsepower.
Ooh, I wonder if we're going to get Virtual Racer or something like that. Yeah, that Sega one, the Sega Racer games. So that would be kind of cool.
I've been to Ridge Racer.
We also got we're all over the place, but we've got Civilization 7 has got a Switch edition where you can use mouse controls. I have Civilization 7 and using the Switch version of the game. It plays well on the Switch, but we're going to get probably a closer version to the PC version now on the Switch 2 with this upgrade. Of course, Borderlands 4 is coming. The DK Sports, we talked about WWE 2K, but also more basketball on that side. The remake for Intergrade for Final Fantasy VII. But the other thing that we saw too, which was really crazy, was a exclusive game from Software called Dusk Bloods. 2026, a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. What do you guys think about that?
For me.
That was big.
I really thought when they started showing this off, like there's been rumors of a Castlevania reboot
I thought it was too.
that's coming. I like the way that it was being presented and some of the visuals and focus on some of the different characters. I thought, well, this is a Castlevania game. I would say this: that game looks really interesting, and it is not for me.
It's a From Software game. So, yeah, if you're not into the Elden Ring, which is also coming to the Switch, the Tarnished Edition, if you're not into those type of that play style, then this is probably not going to be for you. But I still thought it was really cool that Nintendo, its console, is getting its own From Software game.
I will remember too the they're both from software games, but I saw a lot of people comparing this more to Bloodborne than like Dark Souls.
There's a lot of people saying this was Bloodborne, but can't be Bloodborne, so they slapped vampires on it.
Dusk Blood. That's that blood in the title.
Yes.
Right? I also wanted to point out here too, and this is something because there was a detail that was dropped today about another feature that I wanted to bring up that I don't think people are aware of. We mentioned earlier in the show GameCube games coming to Nintendo Switch Online only for Nintendo Switch 2. This is so exclusive to Nintendo Switch. This is going to launch day and date with the system, and with 3 games at launch. At least it seems like it because they highlighted these.
Hmm.
Wind Waker will be one of those, which finally.
Finally.
And then I hollered when I saw this
Yeah.
Soul Calibur 2. My favorite Soul Calibur
Yes.
is going to be re-released. This is a GameCube version, so it will have Link as a playable character. And then F-Zero GX will be at release as well. There will be a GameCube controller that includes a new C button offered. And then they showed off more titles: Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, and Pokemon Coliseum were all shown kind of like scrolling across the screen. Notable, they did not show the game that everyone wants them to put on there, which is Eternal
Melee.
Darkness.
Or Star Wars.
You said we said 2 separate games.
Yes.
Melee is one of them. Dude, where's Smash Brothers for the N64?
They don't want you to play that one. They want you to play Ultimate.
Mm-mm.
Right. Well, speaking of Nintendo 64, this was noticed on the Nintendo website today that with Switch 2, there will be an update to the Nintendo 64 app on NSO, which will add a new CRT filter to get a retro feel of the games, button remapping for each game's controls, and a rewind feature. But that will not. It is unknown at this time if those features will be coming to Switch 1 as well. But that it almost sounds like is going to be day and date with Switch 2 as well.
There's a lot of content coming on that day. It may not be first party, but you'll have access to all types of games.
Yeah, very true.
Not everything, you don't have to like everything, but there's probably something for someone here.
Yeah,
at least a
and
few things.
Just for people to know, that's Mario Kart World, Nintendo Switch Tour Welcome Tour, or Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, Street Fighter 5, Split Fiction, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman World Assassination, Bravely Default, Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, the GameCube app, Deltarune Chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, Civilization 7, Survival Kids, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, Fast Fusion, Fortnite, Arcade Archives 2, Ridge Racer, all those games listed as June 5th release. And probably more coming.
Yes.
Y'all remember when consoles used to launch with like 2 games? And
Yes.
people were like, oh, okay.
Mario 64
You
launched
got a
with,
handful of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the Super Nintendo launch. It was like, hey guys, we got Mario World, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, and Populous.
That was
Like
it.
Well,
Like
it
it,
was
I like
even-
Populous. Deal
There's
with
even
it.
the original Switch launch, right? We only had, you
Yep.
get a couple
Right.
games in the
Bomberman.
physical, and then there was a few things you could go grab on the digital eShop.
Graceful
But now you just
Explosion
have-
Machine.
Yes.
That was so good.
Now you just have the launch window, and the launch window is like 4 months after it comes out. I don't know.
Yes.
Any other games anybody want to throw out there? Because, man, there was a ton mentioned.
They also mentioned Professor Layton, New World of Steam will have a Switch 2 version.
Yes.
Hitman.
No release date
Hitman.
yet, but still
007
this
project.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Project
yes.
007.
Yeah, I'm curious
With
about that
fake-
one myself.
Mhm.
They can
what is
recreate
that?
GoldenEye. A couple other notable ones mentioned here. Hollow Knight Silksong was finally shown again with a 2025 release date. Also, Star Wars Outlaws given a 2025 release date for Switch 2. And what was the other one that really? Oh, y'all, if you watched at the actual airing time, there was a huge gap.
Yep. I was streaming that when that happened.
Yeah.
Marty froze on us.
Am I
You were
here?
frozen for a little bit.
Yeah, you froze. You was like,
A lot of people totally missed, and this is not 2025, but I'm excited about this. Star Seeker, Astro Near
yes.
Expedition.
I went back and
It really looks like Astrobot for Switch.
Yeah, with human size robots.
Yeah, I was really happy for that one. I want to pick that one up.
Yes. I
So yeah,
do I do want to shout out that we had Zach Erickson pop into our chat for a moment and mention a couple things. So he's really excited for Switch 2.
okay,
Also pointed out no snipper clips too.
right.
And then he mentioned something about the Mario Kart being able to share the game as well, join and share. So yeah, he's pretty excited. Had to pop in. So hey there, Zach. Hope you're doing all right. Other people shouting out some of the things that stuck out to them, like the Street Fighter 6.
Lit fiction. Oh, sorry. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
Split Fiction is definitely one that was brought up. So yeah, lots of good stuff here that a lot of people are excited about.
And Kirby Air Riders.
Kirby Air Riders
Yeah,
is
we can get the
the
Kirby. Yeah.
yes, that is the game that our favorite director was working on. So that is a Sakurai game. So that's the one he was working on. That he talked about.
Very
If you're
cool.
watching his YouTube videos, that's the one he was working on. So that Kirby Air Ride was a big game in our house with the GameCube. So we loved that game in our house. So I was pretty excited about seeing Kirby Air Riders.
So what is that like a racing game?
It is like a
I've
racing
never
game.
played it.
It
Huh?
was. It's been so long since I played it, so hopefully I do it justice. But you were in an open, environment, kind of like now the Mario Kart world is, and you had to collect things. I can't remember exactly how you won though, but you were collecting like armor and stuff like that. I'm sure somebody might be in the chat that might mention it, but we had a ton of fun with that because there was those things that you were collecting. It was 4-player. Everybody in the house grabbed a controller and play. If you grabbed all the right parts, you could get like the super vehicle for Kirby to ride or whoever your character was to ride and totally destroy anybody else that was on the racing field. So, but man, it's been so long. I can't even remember how you won that game. I just remember you could explore in there too. So it's kind of interesting. City mode. Okay. Mecha Dragon's talking about a city mode. So I would highly recommend go and look up some, Kirby Air Ride videos. And I'm sure you'll see people playing it there and get a kind of idea how that game is. But this being Kirby Air Riders, it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. So, all right. So that was a ton of games. Again, we probably skipped over a few that might have been some of your favorites that stuck out to you. And we'll certainly be talking about it more probably into next week. But we won't.
Oh yeah.
We have to
Weeks
stop
come.
this show some point here. But
Yeah.
before we stop the show, I do want to mention one thing because obviously there's a bunch of accessories. We're not going to go over all of those. We talked about a few. That's going to cost money as well. One of the things I did want to talk about.
I also wanted to mention about that the power supply that comes with the Switch 2 and will also come with the dock if you buy that, or it can be bought separately, has a higher voltage output than the Switch 1 power supply. So you cannot use the Switch 1 power supply with the Switch 2 dock. You can use it like in the top USB to charge. It'll just slow. But just so note that you can't just, when you're swapping out your docks, you have to swap out power supply as well.
What's the power delivery for the Switch 2? Do you know?
I wasn't told. I was told it was a higher voltage.
There is a Nintendo site. You can get more information on Nintendo's website under the facts and stuff. They do have a lot of information there, more so that was in the videos. So definitely go check out Nintendo.com. They've released tons of information there.
Because I'm wanting to buy an extra dock for my big TV, which means I have to go back behind it and unplug the old power supply, put in the new power supply. That's going to be a pain. I'll probably have to have Matthew help me with.
One thing to point out, the official colors are light blue and light red. No neon.
Yeah, I added that for you, Tim.
Thank you very much. So,
Told you so.
but it is red. It is red.
Well, it
Not
sure
orange.
it sure did look orangish peach.
Not peach.
On all of the
not pink. Is red.
I agree with orange. It looked orange.
And I mentioned that they've even said that with the neon red ones, that the color on the box, the color in the videos, the color wherever you're seeing does not look neon. It's not the actual color you're looking at in the video or the picture or whatever. So, but anyways, going on to the next thing that we wanted to cover real quick that was covered in today's Treehouse. Lots of stuff there. You can go see them play Mario Kart a couple times, Donkey Kong Bonanza there a couple times. They show off the introduction and later on some more gameplay. They show off Dragon Drive. They show off Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which we talked about briefly. And they also showed off The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 Edition and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, showing off the Zelda notes, which is in the new app, which is the Nintendo Switch app. It's no longer going to be called the Nintendo Switch Online app. It's just going to be called Nintendo Switch app. It'll have new features, like I think, Marty, you mentioned about adding friends easier. You can do it from phone to phone using QR codes. You can see friends popping up. You can see friends you've had playing. It will also have the ability to automatically send your Switch 2 album to your phone. The latest 100 videos or pics. So you can share without doing the Wi-Fi thing, doing the QR codes. You can connect it to the app, your Switch 2, and be able to upload your latest screenshots and screen shares and videos with the app. One of those being, another thing you can share with the app is the tool, the Zelda Notes, which they showed off in the video, where in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, you'll be able to share items with the app. You can use it to navigate your character. For the Tears of the Kingdom side, you can get auto build sharing. You get to look at your My Play data, such as the medals, which are the achievements you get to see in the games.
I know with the navigation, did it not mention that like there will be actual voice navigation in the game?
There is voice navigation, yes, in the phone app, not in the game, in the phone app and map.
Okay.
There's global play stats.
That feature. Like, did they show it? Like, I didn't get to watch this today. Did it show it like navigating you to a shrine or to an important part?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you get to tell it what you want it to help you navigate, and there's all kinds of different options you can pick to where you want it to help you get to. It'll mark it on your map.
Audibly.
Yes, it'll talk to you just like Google Maps or Apple Maps does.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when they showed the voice GPS like directions.
Yep.
Go north.
You can use the app to show you where your voice memories are once you've collected them and take you back, voice navigate you back to where those are so you can hear those again. And then there's the photo studio where you can take a picture and edit it and everything using your phone once you share it with your phone. So lots of features there. More to come. Lots of the phone app's going to be a lot more useful. Anything else to you guys that stuck out to all this information that we got about the Nintendo Switch over the past couple days? Nintendo Switch 2.
What we didn't get.
Okay.
That's what stuck out to me. Like, where was Halo? Where was Doom? Where was
all the Microsoft stuff, right?
Yeah, all the Microsoft stuff. Where is that at? You know, and I was, where was COD? You know, I was hoping to see a glimpse of COD.
We didn't see any Microsoft games, did we? Not even Minecraft. Like, where's the Minecraft edition?
Here's my theory on that, is that they're going to do some kind of presentation during whatever Jeff Keighley's doing that week in June, which if you think about it, it's a week after the Switch 2 launch.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, they're going to come out on stage. It would not surprise me if they came out on stage with Doug Bowser or had like some kind of video or just the huge Nintendo logo pops up during their presentations, like full
During
support
Xbox.
during the Xbox presentation, full support for Nintendo Switch 2 moving forward. And then they show the real games. Like we've got Minecraft, we've got, and those are the easy ones. Those are like slam dunks,
Mm.
right? Minecraft, and maybe like we're updating Cuphead for Switch 2, and things
Mm.
like that. And then comes Call of Duty. I really Master Chief Collection. That's a slam dunk. And then the last thing they show is, and
It's Gears of War.
here's a look at Call of Duty running on Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, listen, that would be glorious. To me, they can at
I
least
think.
launch for Warzone.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
So that was my thing. I was like, the stuff we didn't get, stuff we didn't see.
So, sorry to go back
No.
real quick. There's a question in the chat about the medals. Darth Platypus says, "Are the medals for Zelda Notes the way Nintendo is testing out achievements to add for other games?" That I wasn't
That's
sure
what they're
about.
saying.
You guys played Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, right? So, and I know Jesse, you beat it. Were there achievements that in the game at that time, or is the medals that they showed off in the game in the treehouse thing something new? Because we saw something in the app called medals that shows off achievements that you
doesn't
can
ring a
get
bell.
in the Zelda games.
Like it kept like a checklist of quests done and whatnot, but I don't think there was like an achievement or a medal system.
Because there's a new medal system in the phone app where you get to see like these achievements you make, and they call them medals that you get within Legend of Zelda. And I'm not sure if it's just in Tears of the Kingdom or both in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Because I beat Breath of the Wild, I didn't remember there being an achievement system there. So I was like, it must be Tears of the Kingdom. So if
There
it's
was
not,
an achievement system.
if there's not one in Tears of the Kingdom, then this must be a new feature also with it. Because I know I read it off, but I wasn't clear whether or not that was new or not. Yeah, it says my play data, which shows off medals, which are achievements. As part of the play
cool with
data
that.
in the Zelda notes. So yeah, very interesting. All right, next Treehouse is Friday. By the time you probably already listened to this, we didn't get to watch it yet. It's still going on. It's 3 hours long. And so we'll probably be talking about that next week, plus catching up with Justin maybe and what his thoughts are on some of these things. So again, any last thoughts on the Switch 2 or the games?
No Mario.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, no Mario.
No Mario.
Not yet. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
And
My theory on that is
what I
that
thought was going to be Odyssey 2 was the Donkey Kong game.
right, exactly. I think Nintendo is holding off and gonna release it close to that movie.
That makes sense.
Yeah, double dip.
Jesse, any last thoughts?
I can't think of anything else. I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
Marty?
I was just looking at this tweet, and I'm going to summarize it from account Centro Leaks, and it was talking about Nintendo Switch 2 details from NVIDIA. I don't know if you guys had seen this.
Yeah.
Here are some things that they have confirmed for Switch 2. AI image upscaling, which is DLSS, and ray tracing with dedicated RT cores and tensor cores are part of the custom chip that NVIDIA has given or is inside the Switch 2, which gives 10 times the graphical performance of Switch 1. AI-powered face tracking and background removal, so there's that confirmed, and variable refresh rate via NVIDIA G-Sync have all been confirmed for the handheld.
Nice.
So it's pretty impressive, and may give us a little bit of a window as to why the price is what it is.
Yep. Which is another topic in itself, right? is Nintendo slowly moving up the scale to not maybe match the current gen stuff, but maybe in the next generation of stuff, what's going to happen there? Another topic for another day. Yep. All right. We've already spent here a couple hours. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to go over a lot of great questions from the community, but I think there's so much content here that we will have to just talk about this some more next week. But
I think we covered several of the questions, but we can pick and choose and see which ones we want to do.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely go over those. Plus, we'll have Justin, and we'll kind of get a fresh look, a week break from everything. And see if we can get some more thoughts around that and have something to talk about. So, and don't forget, you can check out David, the Gaming Dad, and his place and his stuff that he's on Mondays. So, David, why don't you tell the community where they can find you?
Yeah. Yes, This Week in Gaming happens every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We give out a free Nintendo eShop card every night. Just come on in and say hey to Gaming Dad or ask a question, and we'll put you on our wheel. And at the end of the night, we give it away. So we just really, really, really nice, non-toxic, great community. Yeah, I love those guys. We have a good time. So come on out and join us every Monday night. We're on Twitch at Gaming Dad 1906, and we're also on YouTube. So.
And shout out to some of your community who showed up today too. So Quag comes here once in a while too. So he was here.
Oh my boy,
Quag 311.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we had
311.
Yep.
Braves in Las Vegas.
Steve Cullum, I think, is there too. And he comes around here too. So there's a lot of cross thing. Oh, the geeky chick stopped by.
Oh, Geeky, she got on. Yeah.
Yep. So some of the names I recognize from when I go over to watch you on your show too. So yeah. So every Monday, if you want some good gaming news, I highly recommend going check out Gaming Dad. Because he fills you in on all the gaming news, not just Nintendo, but gaming across the gaming verse.
That's right.
Gaming
and
news.
At the end of the show, I get my prayer on for you.
Yes.
So you can come over there, and you also get some prayer.
So, and you, sir, are the inspiration that gave us the prayer channel we have in our Discord. I wanted to let you know that. So.
Yeah, am I?
Yes, you were the inspiration for that, so I appreciate that by you sharing, doing your prayers that you do every Monday night. I was like, you know what, we need to do something. I didn't want to fully steal what you did, but we decided to open up the prayer channel.
Listen, feel free. Feel free.
We got the prayer channel
mighty
open.
God.
Yeah, and it's been heavily used by the community. So especially through the storms and stuff like that, we've had all that.
That's right.
So, all right. Anything else you guys want to say before we end the show?
Go Blue.
Go Blue, yes.
Go Tigers, Go Lions, Go Pistons.
All right, so I'm going to play the outro. These guys can't hear it, but I'm going to close out the show. First, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger and Jacqueline Amira, and our other 100-plus Patreons. Next, a special thank you to our 20 Twitch subscribers and over 1,464 Twitch followers, and a shout out to our almost 8,000 YouTube subscribers. If we're not there already, we're so close. 8,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you everyone who's contributed one way or another. Especially, I want to say this. Thank you so much for everybody who's done one little bit of things. Because of you, I am able to get a Switch 2. So thank you so much for your contributions. And these guys too are all some way, shape, or form we are able to get a Switch 2 because of however you participate with us. So thank you very much. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for a list of Nintendo Dads family of podcasts or other recommended podcasts like the Star Wars Dads, Mega Dads, Dad Crossing, Retro Logic, and their family of podcasts. You can also get our latest YouTube videos and tweets, links to all of our social medias, Patreons, extra life pages, all that kind of stuff. And don't forget about our Nintendo Dads merch, which is, if you're on YouTube, you'll see it right below the video. Or you can just go to nintendodads.org/merch and get a link to our store as well and pick up some Nintendo Dads merch there. And don't forget about our sponsors like manscaped.com. You get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with the code NinDads, NINDADS. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or don't forget about our voicemail where you can call 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. Download from your favorite podcast app of choice, and please leave us a 5-star review and a comment, like on Spotify. Spotify collects reviews. It doesn't matter whether you're on Apple or on Android. Spotify allows you to do all those things. But if you're on Apple too, we appreciate those reviews there too. For me, for Marty, for Jesse, for David, and a missing Justin, and for Zach for stopping in and saying hi. This is Tim with the Nintendo Dads, and the rest of the Nintendo Dads say good night. See ya.
Good night, good people.
Good night, and good luck.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dad.